Again, those are texture swaps.
No, they
You have
replaced models.
Okay, that's still a texture swap.
Model is not. Texture is
Yeah.
wrapped around a model.
He's got
The
you
point
there.
is, that is actual physics and other skeleton. There's nothing that I can't think of any Capcom actually.
Probably
Has
has a
to be a
Thompson
game.
tank engine.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm gonna say that's there.
That stuff like that happens. For instance, Tifa physics mod came out because literally she has custom physics for her cutscene, and they just models.
Yes, but I'm telling you, they replaced the 3D mesh that is wrapped around tech. There are 3D mesh replacement models for worlds.
Okay, so you have a mesh and you have texture, but still the skeleton. That help.
Oh, well, so what if it doesn't flop? Just splitting hairs then.
What if it doesn't flop?
Like, there are
Oh, we
Yes.
didn't.
Yes, we have done that before.
No, we didn't. Blame Torak. Torak has to go first this time.
Care for an egg in these.
No. He's the
those
he's
are
the one at the
expensive
bottom of the
right
channel.
now.
He has to go first.
Yeah, I know. I just found one.
8 cartons are like $2. Doesn't right.
Ah,
For
bruh. Just get a grade
Yeah.
B. Don't be a bitch. I do. I work in the dairy.
Biologically cannot do.
I can tell
Can't talk about lizard people.
I'm gonna say that
Yeah, we can talk
raising
about
chickens is a lot
the
cheaper than you would
bird.
think.
Yeah, well, there's called the bird.
Hey, thanks for the prime sub there, King Gil. They're ignoring you, but we love you.
Thank you, Trubs.
Again! Okay, I didn't like where that was going. Someone was about to say something, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna go well. Hello everybody. Sorry I'm running a little bit behind. I am getting the tweet out. How's everybody doing today? You have almost made it to Monster Hunter Friday. Where's my sauce for yesterday? There it is. Okay, the tweet is live. Do me the favor, chat. Go give that some love. I have everything sauced. And I believe we are good to go. So, let us begin. You know, it might help if I got my phone plugged in. But how's it going, everybody? That's the wrong plug. Yeah, that's the right plug. I'm gonna take some of this garbage from my dinner to the trash after stream. Okay. So, chat, you guys can see I am currently preloading Wilds. It is available to preload if you guys want to. Okay, that's weird. I was just reading their notification on paid DLC there. Wild's coming out tonight, literally at like midnight Eastern. So congratulations, y'all are only a couple hours away. I'll probably be playing it quite a bit with you guys tomorrow. So hope to see you guys there for that. In the meantime, though, we got FGO stuff we got to do. Here is today's artwork. Go give the artist some love. It is very selectively cropped because it's a little spicy for Twitch. So I was like, hey, let's not go crazy with that. I must sleep for work tomorrow, unfortunately. Same. I mean, you guys know my drill here. I am basically a tax season person at this point, so I exist purely within the confines of my office and never get to leave. So I will be able to be on for stream tomorrow night, and then I have to work Saturday, at least for like a good chunk of the day, and then I'll probably stream for you guys again Saturday, and then I will probably take well, actually I can't take Sunday off because I literally have D&D Sunday, so I will be streaming for you guys every day this weekend. Okay, let's see. Oh, we're right about to caps. This is perfect timing. Have I done my own taxes already? No, actually, my taxes are usually the last ones to get done. All right, I'm just going to skip that. I don't know. It's something about Donald Duck. Whenever I hear Donald Duck, I just go like, I can stand him in the normal like sequence of cartoons, but I don't want to hear like AI voiced Donald Duck sing a song because it just annoys the shit out of me. Did you figure out the router situation? No, I haven't had any time to deal with that. I mean, it seems to have resolved itself like pretty much. I want to say by like maybe like 10:30 yesterday it had finally resolved, which is why like I went a little bit later with stream yesterday. Definitely cost me a little bit of sleep, but it is what it is. But I felt bad because it was like, well, the router situation kind of tanked stream for quite a bit there. And like I said, I'm calling it a router situation, but I don't actually know. For all I know, it may be just on the ISP's end. But it was definitely having some issues. Hopefully there's none today. I did have to reboot YouTube right at the beginning of stream, but it seems like it's fine now. And that was, basically just how things had kind of been going with YouTube of late. So it's like that's not irregular to have to reboot YouTube once or twice. Usually, though, it fixes after that, and it doesn't like keep persisting. So that was definitely a sign that maybe things weren't going so hot. Skip, por favor. Okay. You don't want Goofy to bring you to life? Like I said, I think that kind of falls into the same category as Donald. Spice machine got to keep pumping. I see. Like I don't even know that that's like spicy. I just feel like it's bad. AI Donald Duck songs are god tier? Nah. Like, chat, y'all can listen to them on your own. I don't care. But I've told you guys this before long ago. You're welcome to song request. But if I don't like the song, I will just skip it myself. So it's like I allow people to skip songs on their end. So normally I don't skip so that you guys can vote and it doesn't feel like we're skipping every song. But occasionally I'll take one for the team and I'll just say, no, I'm not going to make somebody waste their skip on this. Mr. Darty, thank you for the 73. How you doing today? And yes, thank you for the hype train. Appreciate it. But yeah, no, I never do my own taxes. I wait until like the very end and then get them done because it's always like, I feel like if I tell other people like, hey, your taxes are like, like still not prepared, but mine are done. Like people would just get really upset. So it's why generally you do your own last. I will skip the AI slop. I mean, I've heard a couple of AI songs that I thought were like, oh, okay, this is, like actually not terrible. It's pretty close to what it would normally sound like, and it's acceptable. But the rest, not so much. YouTube is free of bad song requests. That is true. Look at that art, though. Yep. Told you the art was spicy. Little too spicy. But again, I hope everybody had a good Thursday now at this point. We did get some news out of JP. I think you can just go ahead and kind of cover that because it wasn't very much, but they did announce a new QOL. We are going to be getting. Let me scroll all the way back to this because we were talking a lot. Ain't nothing but a mistake. So we got this chat, which roughly to translate the first point is mentioning that JP Maintenance mentions that we'll get a servant filter for attributes now. So what that means is that now in your menus and stuff, you know how you can filter by card type and everything like that in P type. Now you're going to be able to filter by attributes. So that's actually nice. Chubbs was excited because I know he was thinking that it was going to come in game, and I agree. That's the first thing when I saw this is I was like, oh my god, we're finally going to get it in the game. It's no, it's just the filters. So it's I hope that at least now with the filters here that they go yeah, you know what, maybe this would be helpful to know in game, more than just hey, this is their well, I guess it would be their attribute, right? But yeah, I'm hoping we get more information in the battles so that I can pick this and go oh, okay, it's more than just this attribute. Here's the traits that it has. Or hey, I can see the same things on my own characters and stuff. That's what I'm hoping for. I think more information is good, less information is bad. In general, just allows more people to make informed decisions. How's my net going? It's going pretty good. Hello. Trying to figure out which system I'm getting wilds on. I mean, that's up to you. For me personally, I always get everything on PC because PC, right? That way it's moddable. I can play with all my friends. I think there's definitely a consideration for crossplay and stuff like that, but I think they've said that this game will be fully cross-playable. So I think in that regard, it doesn't matter which system you play on. So at that point, like I said, the tipping point for me is usually that PC is my preferred, plus the modability factor on PC. So those two things combined make me just go yeah. Plus then I get to add it to my Steam library where I kind of have everything. Why chat can't have nice things. True. I'm dreading the OC3 super recos. I mean, again, you don't have to do the super recos if you don't want, right? I think most of the super recos are not terribly hard. The issue that always occurs with super recos is whatever mechanic a fight had that was annoying, you now have to deal with that mechanic, because a lot of the ways people do challenge fights and stuff are that they skip mechanics or they invalidate them. But when it comes to a super echo, usually you have to actually deal with it then. It's going to take you more time. You're not necessarily going to be able to handle it unless you do just manage to have a really strong composition to 3-turn it. Usually it's just going to force you to actually have to deal with the mechanics of the fight. So it's like at that point, then, and this is why I'm not the hugest fan of Super Echoes. They just kind of padded the health so damn much that sometimes you're just like, okay, this is stupid, right? Like I'm just kind of sitting here waiting for stuff to kind of occur as I whittle down the health bar, or I'm so strong that I'm still 3-turning it and your Super Reco just didn't matter. So to me, they need to find a happy medium, and that way it's like you're not going to stop the whales from being able to like 3-turn stuff unless you just really, like you put an extra break bar, you jack up the health beyond such an insane value that even Oberon can't handle it. So it's like that's the only way they're going to do that, and I don't think that's going to please very many people if they do. That's so annoying. That's why I never do them. I mean, I think it's there for the challenge. I think people like being able to figure out how to do them, and I don't think that's like a bad thing, right? But that's also why I've said before that like the rewards for them need to be this like optional stuff that really doesn't matter. And I think they have found a like good balance for that, where like we had teapots and we had mana prisms and apples are basically the 3 rewards that we've had come from Super Echoes. I'm okay with that, as long as it's not like gotcha currency or something like that, because then people can decide for themselves. It's like, do I really need that like 100 mana prisms? Is it really worth the time? And they can make the decision themselves, rather than if they put a really good reward behind it, a lot of people are going to feel like they're kind of being held at gunpoint, and that's like, okay, I have to do this now. The reward isn't worth the time. Well, I agree that the reward probably isn't worth the time, but that's where at that point, what it becomes about is whether or not you enjoy the challenge. If you don't enjoy the challenge, you're just not going to do it. If you do enjoy the challenge, you'll do it. Is there temporary nature as well? Yeah, I do agree with that to some extent. I think FGO just has that issue overall. I feel if challenge content was permanent, better rewards would be way more feasible. I'm gonna counter you with, if challenge content was permanent and you made better rewards, then challenge content becomes required. At which point it's no longer challenge content. It's just content. Like the second a challenge becomes required, it's no longer something extra. It's now part of the main thing that is required. And people will be like, oh no, you're stretching that. That's not the case at all. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to give you guys an example of this. Chat, how many of y'all do 90++ over 90+? Because the difference here is very minimal, but people feel like this is required. So it's that same sort of mentality. Whether or not it actually is kind of doesn't matter in the face of what the community perceives it to be. And that's kind of the issue at play. So it's like, if you lock good rewards behind challenges, you in effect force people to do challenges, which is why challenge people want that to be a thing, because they want to force everybody to do challenge content. But people that don't like challenge content don't want to do it, right? And I guess you could argue it's like, it's the flip side, where that's why challenge people usually aren't the biggest farmers and don't want to have to farm things. And they don't like that they feel forced to have to farm. So I do understand that. And I do get it. But my experience has led me to believe that, especially depending on your account, but if you're more of a challenge person, you are probably way more like not having to farm things, because a lot of challenge people have very big opinions on like what units are good and what units are bad, and they won't touch a bad unit. They won't really use them, or rather I should say, they won't really use them if they don't like the unit, is really what it is. So like, for better or worse, that saves them from having to farm or roll for the unit in the first place. So in that regard, they like challenge players just don't have to do that much farming. They often spare themselves some of the like greater sort of requirements that a more like collecting enthusiast or farming enthusiast would go through. The challenge is in the story. Yeah, I think so to a degree, right? Like the idea that there should be like no challenge is as bad as the idea that there should like only be challenge, right? Like saying like, oh, like let's do none, right? Like no challenge versus challenge. These are two extremes. The middle ground is best, right? Like not everything in the game should be challenge content. Not everything in the game like should be farming content. You need both. How? Thank you for the 19 months. Appreciate it, my dude. How you doing today? Chat, can we get some love for How? I see, Darty. Hello, Aniko. Boss fight, beast class. I mean, the beast class is a class. Doesn't necessarily make it a like challenge related thing. But no, I think it's a really interesting idea, and a lot of this just basically comes down to what do you find fun in a game. Some people get the fun from just mindless grinding. Some people get the fun from collecting every one of their favorite characters. Some people get the fun from enhancing all of their characters to the fullest. Some people get the fun from challenging the greatest challenges that the game has to offer. Some people get the fun from not only doing that, but also then further restricting themselves to some other like crazy requirement. So it doesn't really matter. It only matters that somebody is, enjoying the game. So the idea with a video game is to offer various types of content to people so that there is something, there's like a little bit of something for everyone, right? You're never going to please everyone completely, but the idea is to try and please the majority of people. Is it still considered a challenge if I make it up to 5 turns on 90++ and not 3? I mean, it's a challenge for you. I watched your Saberface run, and now it's recommending your videos on my YouTube again. Good. I know Okayist has been watching that for me, where it's like a couple of people are noticing that it's showing up more now. So I think there's a couple of factors in that. I think the algorithm was bad for me. I think my frequency of posting was down. I think the game itself, just like population shrunk. It's not like done as well over the stretch. There's not like a lot of exciting stuff going on. It's not trending as hard in the algorithm. So it's like, I think the confluence of these factors was definitely that like my videos were just not getting recommended. But I have increased the frequency that I think has made at least the algorithm take a little bit of notice. It's not going to affect the game's population. This is a macro factor that I have no control over. But it's like, I think in doing one of these, it helps the other one, and hopefully it will like help the channel. I've noticed like, so my channel was still showing positive from things like the banner review, but finally the like late January, early February numbers hit, and it was showing all completely negative. But now it's back to like, well, there's maybe some positive. So we are turning things around. I am liking that. I did notice your videos pop out more. Good. Do me that favor, click on them, watch them. Even if you've already watched it before. Just let it run. I always have your videos recommended when it comes out. Good. Yeah, and I think that's like part of it is too that I don't know, maybe I said I got a new video I'm going to be recording for you guys here, so that should be a good thing. You had a negative? What do you mean? Like, not like, how do I put this? It's not like my channel's dying in the sense of like I'm losing subscribers or something, right? But what was happening was like all of my videos, the viewership for my videos had plummeted. And like I said, there were many factors for why this was the case. One of the biggest ones was the fact that I was doing live streams on the main channel, which drug the average viewership numbers way down. And so the algorithm just thought, oh, his videos aren't performing as well. We're going to stop recommending them to people. And that was causing a problem. So now it's gonna like turn back around as we start to do more videos and get more people to watch them. So that, I mean, this is the problem with working with algorithms. It's just shit. Chat. Do you guys see this? Do you see how full this is? Behold. Okay? Don't forget. Get all of your Valentine's craft essences. If you want to know why, it's because you can make CE bombs out of these. And it's not a trivial amount. I'm going to say that amongst all of the Valentine's craft essences, if you have the majority of units in the game, there should be enough there to CE bomb an entire 5-star CE to level 100. So, like, there is a lot in there, especially given how many servants we have in the game now. So, make sure you guys get that done. I don't know if it goes away once the shop closes here in 3 hours. I think you still have more time to do it, but don't quote me on that. Like, I got all of mine done ahead of time just so that I wouldn't have to worry about that. But it is a thing. Make sure you guys do it. Chaldea boys, there's not going to be a lot going on during it, so you should be fine. There should be plenty of time. You don't have to worry or stress about that. We also have Advanced Quest Part 14. Not going to touch it just yet, but it'd be what it'd be. I think you can still exchange. Okay. I'd forgotten the filter for them in the box. Oh, I forgot about that too. I mean, it didn't matter. I usually just sort by acquisition then. He says, as he's now full on stuff. Ah, thank God. I still have enough. There we go. Throw that in there. That'll get me some. So you can see. Boom. Look at this, chat. Took a CE from its base level all the way up to 33 just from one stack of those things. And there are a lot. There are over 400 of these suckers. So there's a ton. I just like being able to hit accept all. Oh yeah, I got you. I have to roll out FP to get Cs to make bombs. I had to do that before as well. I went ahead and did it and made sure I had like enough CE bombs, but that one that you guys see me filling right there, that's actually my last one. So it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. But I should be fine. There's also apparently only 7 hours left on the teapots as well. Advanced Quest 14 was quite annoying. Sorry to hear it. Craft Essence experience seems weird, but whatever. More CE bombs for me. Yep. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to have to, like burn some of the Cs. And sorry, I guess you're not really burning it. You're feeding it, right? But they don't want to like get rid of some of the Valentine Cs. Remember my advice, chat. Keep 5 of them for the next year, and then you'll be fine. So it's like just whatever your favorite ones are, keep those, and then like feed the rest. Because you can get them back every year. No real issue with it. I got around New Year's and I'm still stuck on gold mats. Oh, that's fine. Gold mats take a while to farm manually. And get them again from the next Valentine's. Yeah. I mean, you can. You don't have to keep them. The only reason I said to keep them is because people don't necessarily always roll every Valentine's. If you're going to roll immediately day one every single Valentine's, then it doesn't matter. Except Mashu. So, even with Mash's Valentine's, I know some of y'all say this, but I have to keep reiterating this to y'all. There is technically nothing special about Mash's Valentine's C in this regard. It will still get added to your list once you've acquired it. It's in there just like every other C, so you don't need to save it. I get the like the sentimentality of saving it. That's perfectly fine. But I'm just informing everybody there is no like actual requirement to keep it. There's nothing that's like forcing you to. Eggplant Choco is the best. I know. It is what it is. 9 if you want to start with a full support list of them. I mean, you could. I don't really care at that point. Like, I would think, like, most people, it would not be too big of a deal for them. But if it floats your goat, go for it. My darling Kohai gave it to me. How could I give it up? That's fine. But what about your grailed units? Did you get rid of those Valentines too? Imagine if you burn, destroy, use to feed Valentine C for the servant lost a bond level. That would be fucked up. But I don't think they'd do something like that. Wait, so you did get rid of them? With 1 and 2 star Cs, make them automatically MLB. That's an interesting idea. I've never really thought about that. I don't think that's game breaking if they did it, right? Like, those 1 and 2 star Cs are kind of ass. I very rarely ever use them. And if I do, it's for a CE bomb. Or every once in a blue moon, I go like, well, I have like, you know, again, like 3 more party cost space or something, but it's somehow not enough for another like higher tier unit in some way. So whatever, I just turn it into like I equip 1 more CE on my backline or something. You can consume Choco as an item and the unit will gain a bond level from it. True. That would actually be really cool. Where it's like, hey, you've been here for this amount of Valentines, you've gotten this many free bond level ups. Don't give them ideas. One of them might figure out, wait, what if like every Valentine's Day when you gave them the actual lock on Choco, it actually just increased their bond level by 1. Because like that would make some people like lose their mind. But it would also be like a dev trap of like that's how they get you again, where they basically force you to bond up a unit faster. Plus, that would be really weird for anything after like bond level 10. Because it's like the going from bond level 1 to 10 is the same as like going from bond level 10 to 11. So it's like there would be way more incentive to use it on a unit that was already like over bond level 10. Because you would get the 30 quartz, you would get way more bond out of it. So I'm not sure how they would be able to balance something like that. I've seen several people put their lock-ons on Koyan Sky of Light. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to put it on some of the meta supports. I know, like, last year, I, as well as a lot of other people, had it on Castoria. So it's like, it's not a crazy thing to do. Not to say that some people don't just favor the unit, right? Like, oh, I really like Koyan Sky, so that's why she's getting it. I think that's fine as well. It gets people closer to the bond limit too. Yeah, that's why I said like it'd almost be in a weird way like a dev trap, but people would use it to get the 30 quartz if they did that way. Bond bonus for a certain amount of fights. I mean, I guess technically that's kind of what we get, right? Like I think the current NA one gives a bond bonus at least. I don't know about the others. Oh yeah, chat. So I don't think that's right. I think that's the exact opposite. But apparently Twitch announced, and I sent this to Trubs earlier, but like Twitch announced like a couple of big changes. So why don't we real quick run through that? So Mr. DJ Clancy had an open letter for what's next in 2025 on Twitch. So basically he starts out by glazing everything that they've done and like what they've been up to since he's been president. So he's talking about they kicked off their creator clubs. This is just like literally they created some discords for like groups of content creators if they wanted to join. I frankly don't see the point in this, because every content creator Discord I've ever been a part of, and what I mean when I say this, not like my Discord or like some other content creators Discord. I'm talking about a Discord specifically for content creators. Every one that I've been on it is like everyone always thinks it's going to be like this great thing for collabs, but you don't know anyone there and nobody ever talks really in them. So there's no real way to like actually collaborate. And the only people in there are people that are like desperate for collaborating. You can talk to them, but they're immediately going to collaborate or want to collaborate with you regardless of whether or not there's any sort of like synergy there. So I don't think that those types of things are actually good. You can see it helps streamers deepen their connections. I really don't think it does. I like maybe if it helps like even one or two people, it's worth. But like I feel like these sorts of things are kind of just creator traps a little bit. Yeah, they said their Discord server housed 4,000 affiliates and partners across different clubs. I like how they go affiliates and partners. We all know that this is like maybe like five partners and like 3,995 affiliates. We also made big investments in Stream Together in 2024. We launched drop-ins. Drop-ins are better than like the systems that they had before, but they're still pretty shit. Everyone just uses Discord. Everyone will continue to use Discord unless Discord shits the bed. And rolled out collaborative features like shared chat. I actually did like this. I thought this was pretty cool compared to the old way that they were handling it. And shared viewership. This is odd. So I also heard, and I haven't seen news, but someone told me this, that apparently Twitch is going to make it so that now raid viewership counts towards like your progress to partnership. And as somebody that had to do it with raids not counting towards it, that deeply upsets me on a couple of levels. Because one, it was way harder for us to do it at that point. And while I'm okay with them making like the path to partnership easier and more available for people, this is easily exploited if they do this. Because that's all that you have to do is go, hey, Mr. Big Streamer Man, please like stream with me, or please just raid into me a couple of times so that I can get partner. And I don't think that's good. Like, I feel like that's all that's going to do is it's going to result in people like, one, abusing it and being like, no, pay me, and two, like just using it to get like all of their buddies partner. So it's like, I think that could be a good thing, but I think that also it'll result in a lot of people being partner that probably don't deserve to be. There's technically no issue with that. Like, I don't really care if they are, other than it makes partner way less important, way less of an exclusive thing. So when I tell people I'm a Twitch partner, it kind of means something. After that change, it won't mean dick. It'll literally be like, oh, you're not Twitch partner? Why are you not Twitch partner? Right? Like, so I think that's kind of a weird change because of that. It basically means that everything that everyone had to do in order to get partner before kind of doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, this is interesting. At the start of last year, we updated the Partner Plus program, giving qualifying streamers higher revenue. Since launching this program, we've seen a 4 times increase in the number of partners who have taken advantage and benefited from these revenue shares. Yeah, I'll say, I'm one of those. I'm one of this 4 times increase. Why? Because the amount of partners that this actually affected was something on the level of like, I think someone did the math and it was less than 300 partners across all of Twitch actually benefited from the Partner Plus program. Like it was asinine the way they had it designed. So they thankfully changed it, and now like, yeah, there's way more that are qualifying for it. Twitch technically has a ton of partners because nobody ever really loses partnership, but I'd say like, because I think last I heard there are 50,000 partners on Twitch. But I'd be willing to bet that of those 50,000, there are maybe only 10,000 that are actually like active and still retain decent viewership levels. So in that regard, I think it's like, yeah, I think the vast majority of that crew is like either just completely outdated or whatever. Because again, they don't really ever lose it. So them increasing by 4 times, yeah, I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm surprised it's not even higher than that. But that's probably why it isn't. Here are some of the things they'll be working on in 2025. New tools and opportunities to help you grow your earnings and reach new viewers. Well, that sounds amazing, right, chat? Surely Twitch will help me make this into my job. Collaboration is a core part of Twitch. Our service is all about connecting and creating with others. Tools we're building designed to make it easier to stream with a friend or bring more people into the conversation without a ton of planning and prep work. I'm gonna be real with y'all. There's not really there kind of has to be like planning and prep work no matter what Twitch does, because people don't like going into collabs completely blind most of the time, unless they've collabed like 100 times already, right? So in that regard, there's still going to be some, and frankly, it is more difficult to actually do and set up a collab through Twitch's system than it is for me to just hop in a Discord call with someone. That is infinitely easier, and that's exactly why everyone does it. So as it stands right now, their tools kind of suck for this. Working on features to help you earn more money while collaborating. In particular, we'll be launching shared hype trains. Everyone, please gift more subs so that Twitch can get more money from it. I fucking hate this stuff, dude. Like I see this stuff and I immediately see it for what it is. It's like they're posing a change that they are making so that Twitch makes more money, as if it's a, hey, content creator, you're gonna make more money. And it's like, will the content creator make more money? Yes. Is that why they're doing it? No, they're doing it purely so that Twitch makes more money. For people using Stream Together or Shared Chat, we'll be exploring other monetization features that can be used when you are collaborating to drive more revenue, like shared sub goals. See, that's what it's all about. We'll add the ability to start and manage shared chat sessions right from mobile app, so that you can use it when you're collaborating in real world, either IRL or an activity or event. That's actually nice. They've really got to improve the mobile side of Twitch. We'll also continue to explore ways to help smaller streamers find other streamers who are interested in collaborating by creating communal events like Trick or Treat. So they had the right idea, chat. They had me in the first half. We will continue to explore ways to help smaller streamers find other streamers who are interested in collaborating. This is a good thing. By creating communal events like Trick or Treat, that's a bad thing. That's stupid. Nobody cares about that. Nobody wants that. This is why Twitch becomes massively unprofitable at times, is because they actually just continue to try and execute an idea that's actually just stupid. Yes, maybe somebody gets some benefit out of this, but this probably just burns a hole in Twitch's pocket to actually run this, and it's not going to actually help anyone. They need to set up tools that will allow you to find other people that are of the same size as you and the same interests as you. So in other words, they play similar games to you, right? They stream in similar categories to you that are interested in collaborating. And that's not that hard to do. How do I know this? There are websites that do this. So the fact that Twitch can't seem to get that figured out is funny to me. Improving the mobile viewing experience. Here you go, mobile viewers. We want to help viewers quickly find content to watch and help streamers grow their communities. Recent updates like the Discovery and Clips feed were built with that in mind. My understanding is that people don't hate the Clip feed. People don't hate the Discovery feed. People hate that these are the default when you go on mobile. That is to say, for instance, if I go to mobile, I will see someone stream, right? Who's the next stream that I see? It's somebody else that I have followed. And I have to just keep scrolling through as if it's like a YouTube short or a TikTok in order to find the person who streamed that I actually want to find. Because they took away the sidebar where I can just jump to the actual stream that I want to find. It's so fucking stupid and bad. I'm okay with them having that feature the fact that it is the default and there is no way to actually just go to the stream you want is so dumb to me. You can change tabs on the top to your follower list. Okay, that I didn't realize. So maybe that's a me issue, but I'm still going to say maybe that should be the default. But the problem with that is, if that were the default, then no one would ever use their other features like the discovery or clip feed. So it is what it is. I think they're really trying to lean on clips right now, and I don't blame them for this. This is such a miss, given how TikTok has been, given how YouTube Shorts have been, that like Twitch has not done more with their clips, because this is like one of the biggest things. But clips are really hard to monetize for a streamer. Like, we don't really get anything. If you guys watch my clip, it gives it a view, and it maybe might recommend it to someone else in the clip feed, but I don't make any money off of it. There's no advertising on clips. So I don't get anything out of it, because Twitch isn't going to pay me for viewership on it, and Twitch isn't going to pay me for advertising on it because there's no ads on it. So it's really stupid in that regard that like they haven't actually done anything on this front and they haven't monetized it. Because at that point, it just means that no streamer actually cares about their clip feed, and all they do is they create a clip and then they export it to another platform where it can be monetized. So it's really like dumb of them. In the middle of the year, we'll be adding the ability to provide both landscape and vertical video through enhanced broadcasting. That's weird, because Twitch is the end point. Like, everybody streams through like OBS. So maybe they're gonna allow you to like do a setup of like, this is what your stream would look like if it's like horizontal. This is what it would look like if it's like long view. And so it's like, you know, like maybe my camera's down here like normal, and then like here's all the stuff. But then it's like, if it's long view, it's like maybe my camera's right here, and then here's like the middle point of all the stuff. Right? Like, I don't know. But that's very odd. I'm not sure why they're doing that. I do think having the ability to like rotate your phone, obviously good, but you can currently do that on the app, so I'm not sure what they're going for. We will continue to invest in the feed to help viewers find content, reducing the time it takes to load as you swipe. I actually don't really have a huge issue with this, because the only time it takes a long time to load is when the internet connection's bad, which would happen on any app. Improving the quality of the streams we recommend, and exploring adding more signals like chat. And exploring adding more signals like chat? I actually have no idea what that means. That's weird. Anyways, I guess that means that they're going to be doing other things that you can interact with on mobile. I don't know. More ways to edit and share clips. See, chat? Literally just got done talking about this. Clips help you capture and share your best moments anywhere and everywhere. They keep your community members updated on what happened if they missed your latest stream. I'm going to be real with you. Most people that missed your latest stream and want to know what happened, go watch your VOD. And help introduce you and your content to the new audiences off of Twitch. This is true. But why does it help introduce you to people off of Twitch? Because we just literally download the clip and export it to YouTube and TikTok. We don't actually take the clip and paste it elsewhere. Like, we just convert it to a better video format. So this is a correct statement, but it's not correct for the reason that Twitch thinks it is. We love seeing our community get creative with this feature. I'm gonna be real with y'all, like, that this clips have been a feature since the beginning of Twitch. So This year will make it easier to find, edit, and share clips while giving you the tools to see how they grow your community. This would be nice. We don't get like any metrics on clips right now. I honestly, the Twitch analytics page is like laughably bad. It definitely can show you things related to revenue, but it doesn't show you like very much with regards to like viewership or like analytics for like where your viewership comes from. YouTube is way better on that side of things. Expect smoother editing, new ways to highlight epic moments live, and fresh ways to inspire your viewers to share your content far and wide. That's cool, chat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all need to get into my doomer mindset when it comes to Twitch. Fresh ways to inspire your viewers to share your content far and wide. How much you want to bet they monetize this somehow? How much you want to bet they go like, hey, if you share this clip, you can get like, I don't know, like ad-free viewership or something like that. So it's like, in the end, it just ends up actually kind of fucking the content creator because they get like less ad revenue from it. We also will be looking at more automated ways to find the best moments in your stream so you can share clips right after your stream. This would be cool. I'm going to tell you guys, do you know how this reads to me? Looking at more automated ways to find the best moments. That's how that sounds to me, chat. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because there's already enough spider bots crawling through people's streams and getting us auto-reported and flagged for shit. Unlocking monetization for everyone. We want you to be... Yeah, so this is the controversial section, chat. This is the one that everyone's screaming about. We want you to be able to take advantage of our monetization tools, whether you're just getting your community started or have been on Twitch for a while. In 2025, we're excited to open up monetization tools, subscriptions, and bits to most streamers from day one. This will allow creators, regardless of their status, to grow their communities and start building earnings through direct patronage. We're also introducing the option which will allow all streamers to use their earnings for purchases on Twitch. This is stupid. This is like, hey, what if we didn't have to pay you and you just respent it on like subs and merch? That's all that is. So that section is like, hey guys, get hype about this, and it's like, no, this is just something that benefits you. So this is a section that has everybody up in an uproar. Chat, allow me to put this in layman's terms. They are saying that you don't have to be partner, that you don't have to be affiliate to make money on Twitch now. This means that there is zero barrier to entry. While on one hand, this sounds great, and I think that everybody should be rewarded for their time, like that they're trying to stream, like they should be able to like get sub revenue and stuff like that. I also think what this does is I already, as a partner, struggle to find like what the difference is between me and an affiliate. Like quite literally, there's only one discernible difference that I can name, and that's that I have an expandable emote pool. That's the only difference between a partner and an affiliate right now. So if they do this, what is the difference between an affiliate and literally anybody? What's the difference between a partner and literally anyone? Like, I get that like what I'm making sounds like it's a status argument, but you have to understand there's no real reason to pursue higher end stuff like this. This is also really hilarious because this is actually going to shoot them in the foot in a way that they don't realize. So, chat, little did you know, the rule for restreaming on Twitch, that is to say, if I like choose to stream my Twitch stream to another platform, the rule is that I'm not allowed to combine chats. That is the rule. This is something you agree to as a partner and an affiliate. But if you never sign the affiliate agreement, there's no fucking rule. And if there's no actual benefit to being an affiliate, what the fuck do I care? Allow me, chat. Allow me to cut through all the bullshit and allow me to explain to you what's actually going on here. We are forcing ads on every streamer. Whether you affiliate with us or not. We're going to give you subs. We're going to give you bits. So therefore, it's going to sound like we're giving you all of this stuff. But we're going to use it so that we can turn ads on every stream. So that we can make ever so slightly more ad revenue that we are currently missing out on. That's what this is. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're someone that is not affiliate, usually that is one of two things. It is by choice. So you're somebody that is successful at streaming, but you choose not to sign the affiliate agreement for whatever reason. Or you are not successful yet. You are a small, like infinitesimally small content creator. You have never like gotten people to watch your channel, I guess. You have never grown bigger, I guess, right? So you haven't gotten to like the 50 followers. You haven't gotten to the 5 average viewers. So you can't get affiliate. Chat, they are turning on monetization for these people. That's what this is. Which is really kind of stupid, if you ask me. Because if you're somebody that can't average 5 viewers, how many subs do you think they have? Right? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this to like demonize small streamers. I'm not trying to say this to be like, they're fucking nobodies. No, I'm trying to say this from the standpoint of there's really not a lot there, right? Like, this is an interesting idea, but with me as I currently sit, I believe I am currently bigger than 99.5% of all streamers. Me, right? And I'm not like a super successful partner. I'm just a successful partner. Do you want to know where the 50% mark is, chat? Where you are bigger than the other half of Twitch. It is when you have 1 viewer. When you have 1 average viewer, you are bigger than 50% of Twitch. That sounds fucked up, right? But it's the truth. I feel bad for these people, but there are tons and tons of people that stream to Twitch hours upon hours upon hours a day that have no actual viewership. Like, they stream maybe because they want to. They stream maybe because they hope that one day they hit it big. Or they stream in the hopes that maybe somebody comes in and talks to them. So I'm not trying to insult these people. I feel bad for them. And I understand it sucks to be at that level and you want to garner more support, right? You want to hope that these people find somebody to come watch them. But that's the reality of the situation. 50% of Twitch streams with 0 viewers. This is actually even sadder when you consider that in order to achieve 1 viewer, you can actually just watch yourself. So 50% of people have 0 viewers. on Twitch. And then I think like just even one viewer is already like another like 25%. A lot of people just quit out of a stream with 1 to 10 viewers as soon as an ad hits. Yeah. And that's the unfortunate nature of this. They are trying to force ads and subs on these people. I get it. If you're some one streamer Andy, or sorry, one viewer Andy out there, and somebody subs to you, that makes your day. Right? Like that's huge. That's like, oh my God, I got a sub finally, right? Like I get that. And that's awesome. So in that regard, I don't really hate this idea. I think it's like, it's cool. And I think if it helps them in any way, shape, or form, it can be a thing. But it's also kind of a trap. And I need to explain this, unfortunately, in a very harsh term. If you can't even get to the 5 viewership average to make affiliate, and you've been at this for like a couple of years now, you should quit. That's the truth of the matter, because something's wrong there. Either you're just not cut out for it, you're not consistent with it, or you don't have that drive to like ask yourself how you can improve. Because like I've seen people do this for years and years and years. And all I'm trying to say with this is it's probably your sign that you're not cut out for this as a like profession. Because unfortunately, I think there are a ton of people in the 0 and 1 viewer category that would like, they're sitting there thinking of like, man, I really want to be a streamer. I really want to make this my thing. But if you go at this for months on end and you don't get anywhere with it, it's probably your sign to stop. It's probably your sign that it's like, this just isn't your profession. Like, go seek other opportunities type deal. I think everybody should try out streaming if they want to. I think it's a very cool, like, social, interactive way of doing things. And I love streaming myself personally. So it's why I'm an advocate for a lot of people trying it out. But there is a point where people should kind of turn inward and go like, am I the problem? Is it not working because it's me? Because I'm not doing enough? Because maybe I don't have a personality that's cut out for streaming, or maybe like my real life just is not letting me devote the time to it that I need to in order to be successful, right? Yeah, like for every streamer that makes it, chat, I could say there are 100 that don't, but that would be a lie. For every streamer that makes it, there are 100,000 that do not. In that regard, I'm lucky I even grew to the size that I did. Thank you all, by the way. I really got to stop and say that. But it's the truth of the matter, right? Like, there are that many that fail compared to the one that succeeds. And yeah, when I look at it this way, it's like, sure, getting them that like $5 or something that they're going to get. Actually, I guess it's $6 now. Like, that's awesome. But also, I do agree. I think the biggest problem that I have seen is ever since they expanded some of the partnership stuff to affiliates, is I have seen way more affiliates tank. Way more affiliates that looked promising get fucking greedy and not put in the time that they needed to in order to be successful. What do I mean by that? They started expanding the sub slots that affiliates had. They started giving them animated emotes. They started giving them all sorts of things. All of the like extra features that partners had. The reason that partners had access to those features was as an incentive for them to get partner. And then they gave all of that away to affiliates. And affiliates had whined for it and complained about it and said, we don't have this, you should give it to us. But then the affiliates took it and ran with it because all the affiliates really wanted was this. That's really all they wanted. They didn't realize that basically it was being given to partners who were being kind of showing a path of success, a understanding of the way that streaming worked, and demonstrating that capacity to be able to grow and be able to harness some of these tools as a means to an end, but also as a mechanism to help their growth. Whereas affiliates took these tools and just said, I can milk this. And it caused a lot of them to get greedy. They stopped growing. They started practicing bad habits, like, again, like begging for subs and trying to get people to sub to them and all that stuff. And I think it turned people off ultimately, and it didn't help them. So in a weird way, it had a backwards effect. They thought they were going to get this increased capacity to make money, but then because they got greedy with it and they started trying to make a ton of money, they actually fell off because of it. So I worry about what allowing a like one viewer Andy to monetize is going to do to a lot of those people. I worry about how many potential streamers that could have grown bigger we will just never see, because the one viewer Andy will start like harassing everybody that comes into his chat. Hey, yo, bro, you should sub to me. Like, oh, you want me to do that? Yeah, but you should sub to me if you want me to do it. That's going to be a thing. And it's going to kill streamers that would have otherwise made it, because they would have otherwise learned, wait, this is the way that the streaming industry works. I shouldn't do that. And they would have more time to actually learn the ropes and learn the etiquette of the profession, rather than just immediately harassing people that come into their chat. Obviously, not every streamer is going to do that. And some people will eventually put out guides and say, like, hey, look, we know you have it, but don't be rude. Don't do those things. But I worry that that's just going to affect them negatively in the long run. Just like YouTube, it's really hard to make it out there. Yeah, it's really difficult to get people to do it. I mean, again, you guys can see the situation with my own YouTube. I keep asking you guys to help me out, because, like, I need the help. I wouldn't ask if I didn't need the help, right? Like, so it's difficult. But yeah, I think a lot of people, like, if they go into a one viewer stream and they start getting ads, are going to basically stop watching. And then on the flip side, the one viewer streamer is going to go, hey, this guy was talking to me and I asked him a question and suddenly he just didn't talk to me anymore. And then that's going to like depress them and make them like sad. And then they might like end stream or something like that. So it's like, it's really stupid. I don't think it's going to help. I think it's just going to make the situation worse. Like, it sounds good on paper, but I think it's actually going to have a negative impact. And it's also that Twitch can make more advertising money. Which is stupid, because it's... Yeah, I mean, I guess the ads are going to get shown to more people, but it's going to get shown to, like, the one person lurking in the dude's stream who probably isn't even paying attention. Alright, so they're going to try to fuel more creator sponsorships here. They said that they did this stuff with sponsored subscriptions and channel skins. We have seen a couple of these. I think it was Valorant did sponsored subscriptions on Twitch, which is kind of rich given like the shit that Riot is going through right now and how they're pulling back Hex Tech chests. So the fact that they actually sponsored a bunch of subs on Twitch is like, okay, you clearly have the money to throw around. Channel skins, this is apparently like an advertising thing where we'll go like around the edge of the screen, like not my like not the stream that you guys see, but like literally like the edges of the stream. So I haven't seen anyone do this ever, like even once. I've not seen a singular channel skin in use, no matter who I'm watching. So I think this is just probably a completely underutilized system. And it's probably only in very specific instances of sponsorship. They're not stopping there. We're launching a new tool that'll make it easier for streamers to let brands know they're interested in collaborating. That's not the way this was worded originally. And the way it was worded originally, I basically looked at it and said, well, that's stupid. I'm never going to do that. But if this is the case, and if it's a requirement to fill out their new thing in order to let a brand know that you're interested in collaborating, I guess we'll all have to opt into it. Because apparently it's also going to be used to help brands discover new channels to partner with. Here's the problem with this, though. Brands, I already know how they work. You see, chat, the best brands that everyone wants to sponsor them only want to sponsor high-impact channels. How do I know this? If you ever talk to a community manager for any of these major studios, if you ever talk to any sort of liaison for a marketing department, they will tell you there is one stat that they care about, chat. And you'll never guess what it is. So let's say they were to look at me. Chat, do you think they would care about my number of followers? Do you think they would care about my number of subscribers? Yep, Insane knows it. They only care about CCV, concurrent viewers. This is your viewership average. They only care about this because that's the amount of people watching your stream. That's the amount of people that are going to see the ad. They don't care about your followers necessarily, though there may be a barrier to entry. They definitely don't care about your subs because that's money that's going to you, the streamer, and not to the brand. So it's only CCV that they care about. Well, guess what? Who has the highest CCV? The biggest streamers. So the biggest and best brands only want to advertise on the biggest streamers because it's reach. It's how many people, how many sets of eyeballs that their ad can hit. So then what happens is you go down the list. You get slightly smaller brands and you get slightly smaller concurrent viewership. And then you kind of get all the way to what I'm going to call the Dark Souls swamp of brands. These are brands that they pay very little. They don't give a shit. They probably have an ass product, but they just want you to promote them. These are the brands that everyone gets, and they're terrible. If you ever see Stream Element sponsorships, that's exactly what those are. If you ever see, a streamer talking about like Factor or Manscaping or like any of these others, those are the type of brands. And actually, I'm gonna say Manscaping is probably actually a tier up. It's probably like a tier 2 brand. It's not a top tier brand, but it's a tier 2 brand. HelloFresh, yeah. Like all of those are the bottom of the barrel brands. Nobody wants to work with them. The reason why, and the reason that everyone still does work with them, content creators are greedy as fuck. They want any dollar that they can possibly squeeze out, so they will take any like advertisement that they can. Any money that they can get from it. So they'll say anything in some cases. But the brands, nobody really wants to work with them because the deals that they are offering are absolutely terrible. Like I said, they pay very little. And they quite literally force you usually to like say certain things or do certain things. An example of this that I can give you, let me just literally go to my let me go to my email. Right now, I guarantee you I can pull it up and I can see some sort of like sponsorship offer. And I'm at the point I mostly just ignore them. Okay. Chat. I can earn a guaranteed $300 by streaming Star Trek Fleet Command with Stream Elements. So they will give me $300. But this campaign could earn me up to... Yes, that's right. $23,000. Doesn't that sound amazing, chat? Oh my god, I could earn $23,000. Here's the thing. It's additional bonuses for driving new users deeper into the game. So it's not just, hey, guys, go download Star Trek Fleet Command. You also have to play the game and get to a certain point for me to be able to gain the benefit from that. And I guarantee you, in order to get the 23,000, it's something ridiculous. Like, I have to get like 300 people or something like that to do it. So it's like, honestly, the upper limit of that's really high. Most of the time, I'll see things where it'll be like, oh, you can earn up to like $5,000. And like, that'll be like the most you see. So that one's actually like one of the better offers I've seen. And they're actually not disclosing a lot of the details because they want you to contact them, which means the shitty details are once they've hooked you and have your interest, then they're going to tell you all the crappy stuff you have to do. Let me see if I can find another one. I get key offers all the time too. Oh, paid collaboration offer from me. Okay, actually, that one's not bad. That one's a merch site that's trying to like get me to like use my merch on it. So that one's not a sponsorship opportunity. Hey, please stream our game, but we're not going to pay you. They always give you the same line. It includes a guaranteed amount of blank because we believe in your success. And then like usually what they'll tell you is like here are the requirements. Like if you ever see like a HelloFresh one, they'll be like, you have to mention HelloFresh every 20 minutes. We also are going to require you to do a like 4-hour stream making the HelloFresh like thing that you got. And I'm like, bro, it's gonna take me like 15 minutes to make it. Like, I'm not gonna spend 4 hours glazing your shit. Like, I'm just literally gonna go play something else and like, I don't know, maybe like mention it. So it's like these are the sort of like stupid requirements that they put on you, where it's like if you told me like, hey, you have to have this pop-up on the side of your screen, or like, hey, you have to like mention it like, I don't know, like once at the beginning of the stream, once during the stream, and once at the end, I'd be fine. But it's like this mandated, you must say these things, you must say them at these times. That's the type of crap that just pisses me off. And that's like, I don't think most streamers want to deal with it. So you see a lot of people that just like, they don't want to work with these crappy brands because the better brand deals are more flexible with how they do things. The shitty brand deals are not. And they absolutely are going to force you to do things their way, or you're not going to be able to work with them at all. Probably need like 100 people. Oh, it's probably even more than that. Like, it's probably every time I've ever looked at it in order to hit the maximum, it's some like completely unachievable number for someone of my size. Right? Control is a bad thing. Yeah. We're exploring new types of sponsorships, and in particular, we'll be working to expand the matching gift subs feature that was part of September's and bonus round through sponsorships. You know, like, we'll see. This is also, we've talked about this before, chat, but this is Twitch. Twitch realizing that there are streamers, right? And there are sponsors. And that there is a lot of money changing hands, right? Like the streamers are getting money from the sponsors, and Twitch is over here. And the streamers are streaming to Twitch, and Twitch is going, what the fuck? Where's my money? Why am I not getting any cut of this? So this is Twitch trying to inject themselves into the middle of that situation. That's Twitch literally saying, we want to be the middleman now so that we get a cut. And that is exactly why everybody doesn't want Twitch to touch this. And it's also why Twitch tried to clamp down on what types of advertisings could be done on Twitch. And everybody still just keeps finding ways around it and ignoring them. They're trying to restrict it so that everybody has to go through Twitch to then get to the streamer. And everybody's just going like, no, fuck this. We're just going direct. I just assume they're not genuine. Yeah. Well, I've always told you, if I take a sponsorship, guys, usually I'm only going to take a sponsorship if I actually believe in the product. If it's like a true sponsorship. But if I'm just doing something that's like, hey, play this game, or like, hey, promote this like HelloFresh or something like that, Chad, I took the bag. That's all it is. Like don't hold it to me. It's just I took the bag. That's literally all it is. Promotional offerings with more chances for streamers to earn. More site-wide promotions and discounts throughout the year to give creators more chances to earn and bring their communities together. I'll be real with you. I don't know what they're talking about here. I've never seen site-wide like discounts and promotions. Thursday, March 27th. A 35% discount on gift sub bundles of 5 or more. So it's like, oh, that sounds great. I don't know what this is. Like, this is just like a, hey, gift more subs so that everybody makes more money, including Twitch. Doesn't sound like this is something we're doing necessarily for streamers. And the reason I'm so jaded on this chat is because we know that Twitch absolutely makes all of their decisions this way. Their decisions are Twitch first, not streamer first. We're launching a new feature that'll allow viewers to react to specific moments on stream with bits. This is already a thing that kind of exists. It's like the stream emojis thing where you see emojis pop up on the screen on some streamer streams. This is Twitch saying, we're going to allow you to do that if you pay us. It's also like the TikTok streaming thing. The ability to create custom power-ups are on the way. Can't wait to see how they'll be used to elevate streams in the coming year. Oh, is this the shit that like they got in massive trouble for with the streamers before? Where you could like promote someone's stream? I don't know. I don't know what they mean by power-ups, but I hope it's not that. If it is, that's going to make a lot of people angry. We're focusing our community in other ways too. New tools to feature support special events, growing its ambassador and Unity Guild programs, and more. So they want to build streamer affinity and connection. So chat, listen, I don't want to get political here, but I'm gonna say this. This is something that I have noticed. Twitch absolutely favors like the minorities and the like different sexualities and stuff like that, other than the majority. While I understand the idea that like, hey, maybe these people do need the occasional spotlight shown on them to help them, they almost don't shine the spotlight ever on anybody that's not one of these groups. And therefore, like, I'm gonna give you an example. If you were like a straight white streamer and you were small, you don't get any help at all. Twitch will just ignore you. And I find that to be honestly just stupid. They don't necessarily need guilds to promote any of these people. They just need to start promoting smaller streamers, regardless of what their race or sexuality is. That's really all it needs to be. Because this is just like actual racism and sexism and stuff like that in play. It's stupid. and I'm tired of seeing it. It's prejudice. That's all it is. And people would be like, oh, but they need the help. And I'm like, I get it, but we're not seeing fair treatment on every side at this point. Like, you're not treating people equally. It's just literally you're choosing who to selectively promote. And it gets really freaking annoying. Yeah, I saw that, Cross. That's just that's stupid. We're expanding guilds to include more languages and to better support our global community. They don't at all. Ambassadors from around the world will have continued growth opportunities too. We're doubling our ambassador count for 2025 with planned expansions in many regions. So ambassadors are definitely an interesting thing. Here's the problem. They're doubling their ambassador account. Chat, do you know what a Twitch ambassador is? A Twitch ambassador is a streamer that has applied for the ambassador system. And Twitch approves of it if Twitch assumes that you are a good streamer. Hilariously, they opened this up a while back and I applied for it and I did not get accepted. And I'm not surprised that I didn't get accepted. But they opened it up and I was like, well, I can't complain that they didn't accept me unless I apply. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply and see what happens. Thing is, it doesn't really do anything for you. And if anything, it's a liability. You actually, as a streamer, you don't want to be a Twitch ambassador. And let me explain why. Streamers think it's a status symbol, but I know a Twitch ambassador, and she gets yelled at every freaking time Twitch does something stupid. Every time. So you don't want to be an ambassador. It is a detriment, not a benefit. And it's really, really stupid in that regard. So I think the other assumption is that if you're an ambassador, that Twitch will somehow listen to your input and stuff. Twitch does not. And I'm going to guarantee you they absolutely won't if they're doubling the count. Right? If they're 2 timing the account of ambassadors and they didn't listen to them before, sure as fuck not going to listen to them now. Updating enforcement system and new tools. We're doubling down on our commitment to make Twitch the safest place to stream. It's important to us that our rules are easy to follow. I'm sorry, that's low-hanging fruit. I can't even go in on that one. And our community is given room to learn from mistakes when they make them. We know that for many people, Twitch is their livelihood, and we remain committed to helping set up our community for success. In February, we introduced expiring violations. This is actually a good change. I'm somebody that has a violation on my channel from all the way back from before I was a partner. Now I know it's completely gone. I didn't know that. I assumed it never, I think one time I got to see a database scrape of my account and I checked it and it didn't have any violation before they implemented this system. So I assumed it was a minor enough infraction that they just wrote it off in the first place. But this is basically their way of saying, hey, have you ever been kicked off of Twitch? Have you ever gone over to Kick? Have you ever gone over to Facebook live streaming or any of these other platforms? Hey, please come back. We'll get rid of your violations. That's what that is. So they did it for the wrong reasons, but I do like that they made the change because there are people that have been banned for stupid mistranslations of the rules on Twitch's part, where they absolutely crack down on one person, but then not on the other. And it's those people don't deserve to have those violations hanging over their head. It's if you're not going to apply the rules arbitrarily or fairly, and you're just going to keep doing it arbitrarily, there's no reason to have this be some sort of permanent mark, some sort of scarlet letter you wear on your chest. You can see, yeah, in the past, when someone broke one of our policies, those violations stayed on their account forever. Most violations now expire after a set amount of time. However, violations we issue of the highest severity and highest harm policies will not expire. Coming soon, if you break a community guideline, we'll provide you more information at the account level about what content, whether a chat message or a part of stream, violated our policies. Chat, does anyone know how old Twitch is? So technically it goes all the way back to 2007 with Justin TV, but Twitch itself started in 2011. So I'm gonna say there, okay? So that means that next year Twitch will be 15 years old. Twitch, not Justin TV, Twitch. How did it take us 15 fucking years to finally find out why we were banned? 15 years of banning people. Now you'll finally find out why. That shit just pisses me off. I'm sorry. Because like usually you get an email, but that only started being a thing, I want to say like a couple of years back. So like you'll get an email telling you why, but the email will just cite one of the Twitch rules. It will not give you any context. And so you're just sitting there and you're just like, what the fuck? So for instance, chat, my one ban was for an art piece I used on stream. And it literally was cited as nudity. The art piece didn't have nudity in it. It was someone in their underwear, but they were not actually nude. There was no displaying of any sort of part of their body that could not be displayed on Twitch. And I got a ban for it. And when I appealed it, all they did was they recited the rule to me. And I looked at it and I was like, this is just stupid. Like, you don't even know how to apply your own policies when you say these things. Because you're citing nudity, and it's like, it's not even a violation of that. On the tooling side, we're expanding our moderator tools. Mods are the core part of the Twitch community. We're excited to roll out updates that make moderating even easier from mobile mod view. The fact that this isn't a thing already is stupid. On Android, to an updated moderating settings page that'll make it easier for mods to set up preferences when they're just starting out. I think it's fine. More mod tools is good. This is actually like this right here, mod tools. This is a complete and total like this is like the Jeb Bush like meme of him being like, I won like 500 to nothing. It is that meme for how much like superiority Twitch has over YouTube live streaming with regards to moderation. Like, the moderator tools for YouTube are the equivalent of like the like proto-human that's just figuring out how to build fire with a rock and like a stick. That's the moderation tools on YouTube, whereas the moderation tools on Twitch at this point are at least like a dude with like a 19th century gun. It's like, it's not perfect, but damn, he's way more technologically advanced. And that's apparently it. That took me way longer to go through than I wanted to, but it's because like some of the things I read, I sit there and I go like, God, this pisses me off. So anyways, that's the changes that are coming to Twitch this year. Like I said, the big one that a lot of people are upset about is the way that they're going to be changing the monetization to affect quite literally everybody. I think like the idea, the premise behind it, and like, hey, let's let everybody earn money is a good one. But I think the way in which they're going to go about it is really bad. The Misaka Salter one? Yeah, that's the one that got me banned. Want some bad news? Check out gaming news right now. Oh God, what? Yeah, I heard this earlier today. I mean, I didn't know that she's spoken out, but Yeah. I mean, I actually like that they're looking for like a successor. That's actually a good thing to hear. This is coming off as opinion now, though. He also completely got this wrong. The amount is 7 billion. So he listed the purchase price as 4 billion cash and stock. It's 7 billion, and we all know this. Okay, so it looks like he did actually interview her. Okay. Okay. I see what's going on here. This is a control the narrative chat. The truth is, I want to say just loud and clear, I'm not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That is the first and important thing I want to say. I'm not retiring. The way this reads is that she will not be president. That's how I read this. Reading between the lines, she's not retiring. She's just not going to be president anymore. And they're looking for somebody to take up that mantle so that she can focus still on helping out on the production side of things. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's probably where she belongs. She should not be president. She should be a producer. That's what she's actually good at. You can see she goes, what's been happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time. This is where the stories are coming from. With both Bob, so it's Bob Iger, and Alan about what the eventual succession might look like. So the fact that this has been an ongoing discussion is why there are so many rumors. And it does mean that there has been discussions of, hey, maybe it's time for you to take a step back. Like, we can keep you around. We know you're passionate about this, but like, we need to find a successor for you before you get too old and you start shitting the bed. So this is a, hey, yeah, we're trying to set the record straight. She's not leaving, huh? She's not going to leave, but she's not going to be president. That's what I'm still reading here. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. So this does mean that it's true. This is not the slam dunk that this stupid reporter thinks that it is. And it's really funny because you guys don't see it, but if I scroll back up, you'll see a lot of him being like, people were being too mean to Kathleen Kennedy. She deserves better than this. Like, it's clear that the person writing this article is just a fucking simp. So, yeah, this is not the slam dunk reversal that they think it is. There is some actual fire to this smoke. And it definitely shows that. we're in lockstep as to what that's going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. You were probably not in lockstep until you gave this interview now. And I am continuing. I'm producing the Mandalorian movie right now. I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. And I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. If you're staying at Lucasfilm, so notice, chat, they don't say that she's losing her job as president, but she is. That is what this indicates. She's going to stay at Lucasfilm and be a part of it, but she's not going to be president anymore because someone is stepping in. So it's not I'm stepping out, it's someone stepping in to replace me. It's she's kind of changing the tone to make it sound better. She's being PC. But that's what this is. All that's underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. So in other words, it's you can't force me to say this because I want to say this whenever. I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company as to how we go about making deals, finalizing decisions, and making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in that process. This is word salad, chat. This is what you hear from a politician where they go, "I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process," and we're in that process. You don't have to read anything else in between that. It's just one sentence. Chaos? There has never been any chaos. Yeah. We know exactly what the plan is, and we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple years. There you go, hence all the rumors. Because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be here forever. You see, she wants to indicate that the obvious reasons are that her age, and that is true. But I think there's an even more obvious reason for why you're not going to be here forever. You suck. George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we're involved in doing right now. So it has grown. So yeah, like I said, this is not the slam dunk that they think it is. They're trying to claim that she's not going, but she is. It's literally, they're discussing actively who is replacing her. And they're going to say it within either a month or a year from now. That's per her own words. So yeah, this is absolutely her trying to spin this in a more positive light. How far down the road do you expect before a change gets made and then you go off and produce these two big Star Wars things? Probably make an announcement months or a year out. And I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie. Okay, this is just repetition. And you re-upped and here you are. What do you make of this fixation on your job status? I truly don't know. Yes, you fucking do, you bitch. And any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting at any of those things, that's a complete rumor mill, because through all these reports, I have just continued doing my job and continued doing the contract. Is it a complete rumor mill? You literally admitted that you have been in ongoing discussions about this for years. So this is her trying to quash rumors, but she already let the cat out of the bag and admitted that the rumors were in fact correct. It's all just been manufactured now. So the other thing is too, chat, the Star Wars community is very connected, especially the content creators. They have literally people on the inside of like both Lucas and like Disney's boards. They know the decisions that are getting made. People will often speak on anonymity to not be discovered, but that stuff does leak out. When something is said in a meeting, it very quickly gets over to the content creator side of things. And yes, we kept hearing she was going to retire. We kept hearing it was the thing, and it kept not being a thing. This is why. It's because they've been talking about it for years. Connotation that you're being pushed aside in need of being replaced, though, that's not what I've heard. See, chat, this is the Deadline reporter saying, though that's not what I've heard. Like, this is him. It's a glaze. It's a puff piece. He's throwing her softballs. He's literally leading her to the assertion. If he says this and then she agrees with it, so it's absolutely not the case. It sounds like, oh, it must be fact. We see this all the time in political reporting too, and it's fucking terrible. Every time you guys see this, you should immediately doubt anything that's said right after it. Because this is the person, it's propaganda, is what it is. Everything we do inside of Lucasfilm is in lockstep. I don't think that word means what you think it does nowadays, and you probably shouldn't keep using it. And in communication with Disney. See, we also know this isn't the case because of the train wreck that some of this stuff has been, so we all know what's going on. The communication has been completely collaborative, as you would expect. This is a big piece of business for them, and they want to empower me to help them make that decision and that choice. I'm doing that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm placing some blame on Kevin Feige because he had that magnificent streak of superhero hits and set an impossibly high bar, but now he's starting to take shrapnel. How daunting is it to run the company based on a beloved and iconic IP? Oh, she's about to shoot herself, chat. What has been the most challenging thing about running Lucasfilm when fans of the original trilogy measure everything against it and don't see the business need of broadening the franchise when Disney paid so much for it? Hey, Deadline reporter, go fuck yourself. You don't know jack shit about this IP. God damn. I just... There is no business need to broaden the franchise. That is literally just Disney deciding that they want a return on the investment so that they aren't in the hole because it's not going the way that they want it to because they kept trying to feed shit down our throats for these past 12 years. God, that pisses me off. What Amazon MGM will now go through as they expand the James Bond universe? Yes, and it's why every fan of James Bond is really worried right now. Everyone that I know that loves James Bond is worried that franchise is dead now, that it's going to shit. Because the Broccolis, who have been in charge of it for years, Albert Broccoli is the person that originally wrote the James Bond novels and oversaw the creation of all the movies. His family have been the one that have been in charge of it. They have now relinquished control to Amazon, who purchased MGM. So we're about to see a Rings of Power of James Bond. And it's not going to go well. It's something I think about all the time. It's fascinating to think about how you sustain a brand, especially Star Wars, which is just about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. Yeah. And so to analyze and understand what was inspiring George when he created Star Wars, when he was still looking at Saturday matinees and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, and those are things of the past, and politically what he was reflecting in his stories. Please remove her, chat. Please, somebody get this lady out of Star Wars. Holy shit. Yes, there is politics in Star Wars. It is not meant to be socio-cultural commentary. It is literally not that. It is just a space drama. George has said this himself, that he did not tie it directly to any modern political events. If anything, if you go and look back at the prequels, I've seen a lot of people try to make the prequels political for today's day and age. It's very obvious to any student of history what the prequels are referring to. The fall of Rome is what the prequels are trying to do. Okay? So he took a real world event, but something that happened way far in the past, and used it as the model for how he wanted to develop his story. Oh god. Yeah, if she actually turned Star Wars political, I'm done with Star Wars. I think everybody will be at that point. Not that it already kind of hasn't been. They've tried to inject politics into Star Wars a few times now, and everybody hates it every time they do it. Star Wars has always had a kind of world building. Yeah, this is the thing that Disney's fucking up by far the most, so you definitely don't understand that. And it reflects a certain amount of our... Oh my god! Oh, she's... Oh god, no. No. No, she is the problem. Holy shit. The world, needless to say, is changing by the second, and consequently the audience has changed dramatically. No, it hasn't. If the audience has changed, it's because of the changes you have made. How they consume things, we're seeing this reflected in the health of the movie business. No. Okay, so chat, this is, hey, the Star Wars movies failed because the movie business was failing. Not because I made a shit movie. It couldn't be me. And what it really means for streaming, and what are all these other platforms that may be on the horizon. You're trying to look forward, and at the same time, you're trying to create stories that feel familiar. You're moving into the future, but you're maintaining a sense of familiarity. I think that's the hardest balance. Sure, I get that. That's soft serve there. Then we have a brand that's this expansive. You don't get to claim it's expansive anymore. You killed its expansion. You killed all... So, chat, so that you guys are aware, the EU refers to everything outside of the movies. Everything. They decanonized it. Everything. Any show that ever occurred for Star Wars, any video game that ever occurred for Star Wars, any comic that was ever made for Star Wars, any book that was ever written about Star Wars was decanonized by Disney. We work very hard at, you try to find different entry points for different generations, because that's what Star Wars has always been. It's a very generational brand. So that's interesting. If it's a very generational brand, why then did you ban any future creation or use of Luke Skywalker in any of the Disney IPs? Why does Luke Skywalker not appear at any of the Disney parks? Why did you ban Luke Skywalker if it's a generational brand? Why did you try to get rid of an entire generation of fans? We want to sustain that. We work hard to sustain that. So George gave us the gift of storytelling being across lots of different genres, and that gives us a lot of opportunity to try things. What we've really enjoyed about the streaming space is we've been able to experiment. I actually think that's good. A lot of people have been down on a lot of the Star Wars shows, but I think they do need to explore streaming and making shows. I think it's a good thing that they are making shows. Seen a lot of people critical and saying they need to just go back to just the movies. I don't agree with that. but I will definitely be on the forefront of people that have criticized some of the shows that they have made, because some of them were just absolutely terrible and they should know better. It's harder to do that in the movie space. And now I think that's why it feels so good to be able to move into a Mandalorian movie, as we're coming off of 3 seasons of a very successful show. I'm sorry, I believe you mean 2 seasons of a very successful show. And we actually built an audience for that, and we gave the young audience an opportunity to enter Star Wars at a different place and not feel like you have to have seen everything. I disagree with that. I don't think you did, because I think the young generation does not watch the sequels, unfortunately. It can become their Star Wars, and that, I think, is the fun of the storytelling challenge. Yep, here's the glazing again. By the rabid fan base. You couldn't just call us fan base, you had to call us rabid. Ah, she's on a first name basis. I mean, she should be with an interviewer, honestly. They should introduce themselves. What's troubling and frustrating is that our development gets scrutinized. And I don't know any other production company where their developments get scrutinized like that. Damn. Do you think you're the only production company in existence? Do you literally not see what is going on in your industry? Are you fucking blind? Do you not see how everybody keeps screaming at Hollywood? And a lot of like long running shows and stuff like that they're fucking things up and they need to do it. Like, she's trying to say that, like, oh, well, we get it scrutinized to an extra level. No, you don't. Everybody's pissed off right now. It's very hard for anything to happen within Star Wars without some aspect of it becoming public before you even want it to become public. Yeah, almost like your retirement, right? So I guess managing the message in some way is also quite a challenge, because, of course, managing the message. You could almost call this as controlling the opinion, setting the narrative, correcting the record. She's good at this. But, like, not so good that you can't spot it. She's good at it in the sense of you can tell she's been propagandizing all of this time. Not every single thing we put in development are we going to make. That's not unusual. No, yeah, see, so one of the criticisms have been that there have been a shit ton of Star Wars projects, and they have been canceled and never seen the light of day. She's blaming it on leaks. Yes, a lot of stuff has gotten leaked, but yes, publicly announced IPs have been canceled, and an exorbitant number of them by her. So, like, it is a absolutely fair criticism. We want to make those things that we feel are the best. We want to make those things that as time passes feel relevant to what the audience is responding to. Oh, is that the case? Then what happened with the Acolyte? So there's a constant discussion around that. So yeah, that's tricky, because a lot of the scrutiny around Star Wars and the negativity has been out of development. No, I think there's the lion's share of the negativity isn't been about what you've been developing. It's been about what you actually made, and people did not like it. Of course, we're going to develop lots of different things with an understanding that not everything gets made. I broke a piece last fall about Simon Kinberg making a deal to write and produce a Star Wars trilogy. How's that going? So this is fucking hilarious. Because he goes, I broke a piece last fall. She literally just talked about how, like, a lot of this is due to, like, stuff coming out ahead of time. And this is literally the Deadline reporter being like, yeah, I'm one of the people that did it. We're absolutely rolling fast and furiously. That has gone exceptionally well. and he's literally going to script as we speak. We'll see. Wait, what do you mean you're going to script as you speak? So you're saying 6 months later, you still hadn't exited pre-production? What? We'll see something probably around June. Simon, if you remember, he did some work with us years ago with the animated show, which was really wonderful and a collaborative experience. And he then got very, very busy with X-Men. See, I don't even know what he's been up to. And recently became available again. And he segued into this space beautifully. We're really excited about where that's headed. There are spin-offs, and then there is the core Star Wars story broken into trilogies. Is this a continuation of that? This is the next iteration, the new saga that moves us into the future. I am so fucking terrified of her handling this. Because, chat, so that you guys understand, what the sequel trilogy does to the mainline Star Wars story is everybody that you ever cared about is dead. Everything that you ever knew about Star Wars is undone. Everything is gone. And the only remaining character is Rey, who is now a Skywalker by, adoption. She destroyed everything there was. To continue on from the sequel trilogy is a blank slate. Star Wars could turn into Mass Effect at that point. Star Wars could turn into Skyrim, and nobody could stop it because she has destroyed everything that came before it with the sequel trilogy. Did they kill Chewie off yet? Technically, Chewie, R2-D2, and C-3PO are all still around. And I'm sure they'll worm them in order to force you to still enjoy it. And the one by Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy. Post 9. Oh god. Maybe 5 or 6 years out. And Mandalorian really stands on its own there, because there we're dealing with a whole other era in the New Republic. Chat, so that we're clear, they kind of had to retcon this because in the sequel trilogy, the entire main governing planets that the New Republic based its government on all got destroyed by the First Order. Which, they're not going to say this because it wasn't mentioned specifically, but logic would indicate that would mean Coruscant, the actual capital of the galaxy, got destroyed. It's so stupid. It makes me laugh. Even the Yuzhang Vong series in the EU, Coruscant got completely captured by the enemy, got terraformed into an entirely new planet, and it still wasn't destroyed. So it's even with as bad as the Yuzhang Vong arc was, they still knew better than to fuck that planet entirely. Right now, with The Mandalorian, we have a pretty good sense of where that's going. We may bring back some of the characters from the sequel saga. Ooh, you have Rey. That's it. You pretty much killed everyone off. I guess Finn's out there at some point. I'd say 3 or 4 right at the moment. These are how many development type projects that she feels confident will turn into something. But of all the projects, only 3 or 4 does she feel confident in? It means that there's either just not a lot of projects or she's really pessimistic. This is not a good count for a IP as big as Star Wars. Oh yeah, what kind of talent are we attaching? That's a challenge in and of itself these days because people get really busy. Chat, let me mansplain this to you because Kathleen Kennedy's not going to say it, so I'm going to say it. A lot of people don't want to work for Star Wars right now. This is actually a known thing. A lot of actors really are like apprehensive about acting in a Star Wars movie, partially because of what happened with the sequel trilogy, and partially because they've seen it happen even with the prequels back in the day. A lot of people that have acted in Star Wars movies, it absolutely made them, but they were also one tricks. They never got to do anything else. So a lot of actors don't really want to go into something like that, or even to an extent something like Marvel with the MCU, where they feel like, oh, they're in it for life and they can never get out and never do anything else. Having to wait with a lot of the top talent doing streaming and movies now, they're juggling schedules. And when you do Star Wars, you pretty much have to step into it and not have any other competing work going on. See, this is the issue. It's a good 2 to 3 years minimum commitment, and that's tough to get the top talent to be able to carve out that kind of time. Here's an idea. What if you didn't take top talent? Like, if you look at Andor, there is no really big famous actor in Andor. And that show is still absolutely fantastic. So it's not about getting the top talent, it's about getting the right talent. That prequel with James Mangold, who's Oscar nominated for the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. I do at least like that we're getting way more like insider information out of here than she should probably be giving. It's her way of trying to deflect from the issue at hand. Yeah, the Taika Waititi or whatever, like this one's not gonna go well, and I suspect this one's gonna get canceled. And the reason why is because Taika said that he wants to make a movie that Star Wars fans hate. So that's not a good way to start out as a director of a Star Wars movie. That might make people a little apprehensive. I think if we ever do get a script from Taika, okay, yeah, this is dead. This is dead. They're not getting it because this has been announced for like years now. They still don't have a script, which means they can't move forward. Tying him down, it's tricky. So like, what the fuck else are you doing if you're not working on Star Wars? Like, chat, was Thor Ragnarok actually good? I don't know if I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's possible. So she won't commit to 8 or 10 years. So thank God. This means that chat, set your sundials, okay? Like twist it up here. You have less than a decade. Your husband Frank Marshall. We loved coming back together and being able to work with Mangold on the indie movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the one that everyone hates. They've expanded things in ways I don't think George could have even imagined. Yeah, because George didn't want to imagine it. George called Disney white slavers. So, like, George does not have a positive opinion of Disney. And see, I've never been an executive before. I'm a filmmaker through and through. But see, you're not a filmmaker, you're a film producer, and there is a difference there. And we have people who step into Star Wars who never really knew that IP well. That's a problem. That should just not be the case. So Tony Gilroy, by the way, Chad, is the person that I was talking about the other day, where she did not invite him to work on Andor, even though he was involved with Rogue One and was largely responsible for Rogue One's success. She didn't invite him to Andor, even though it was a prequel to Rogue One. And then he had to approach her and say, your script is shit. Let me change it. After he was the uncredited backstop on Rogue One. Yep, he's the dude responsible for the Bourne trilogy. Two final questions. Will you step out as Lucasfilm boss this year? We don't know. When it happens, who'll make the decision? Me, it's my decision. This is 100% my decision. No, it's not. No, it's not. Somewhere in the distance, a mouse laughed. Yeah, that's an interesting article. Sorry I took so long reading that. Again, like, I'm getting stun locked on some of the stuff because it's just like, it's stuff I'm passionate about, chat. So thank you all for humoring me and sitting through it. I appreciate you. It's the point that the suits turn on her. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that there are a lot of irons in the fire. I'm not happy to hear that she only thinks 3 or 4 of them will ever become anything. And I'm going to say that at the end of the day, I am extremely concerned about their plans to advance the sequel trilogy. That is like, that's the worst news I could ever hear. The worst. I can only hope that whoever is in charge of the subsequent movies undoes some of the damage that was done. Like, the one good thing I can say, chat, is that because the sequel movies are so gutter trash, they don't actually show a lot of the, like, nitty gritty of the galaxy. So, like, you don't have any idea what's going on in the galaxy at the moment. All you know is, like, First Order versus New Republic. That's all you know. And you never really actually, like, get any of it quantified or shown to you. So in that regard, they can kind of just paint the sequel trilogy as sensationalist. And it's like, oh yeah, all those events happened. It just wasn't as big of a scale as people thought it was. And then that would easily allow it to be downplayed. But I don't think they will. I was in Star Wars, or I was in high school when Star Wars came out, and I remember the thrill. This is horrible. Yeah, like it's really weird because I as well, like I remember being really young and watching the original trilogy, and I was infatuated with it. And then I remembered like barely being old enough to remember, but I remembered like going to the movie theaters. Literally, the first movie going experience that I still can remember was going to see The Phantom Menace. Like it was an epic undertaking of an event, and I remember it still. I remember the excitement. I remember the thrill of each one of the prequel movies coming out. I remember just how excited I was to see the universe expand, and just how optimistic I was, and just how much I loved it. And I don't love it anymore. Like, it's sad. Like I do. I still love the parts of the IP that came before Disney. But there's so much stuff that comes out nowadays that I have to view with a scrutinizing lens, because it's not good anymore. There's no excitement there. I'm instead looking for what to find wrong with it, because the projects getting created don't respect the original origins of Star Wars. They don't respect the lore. They don't respect the movies that came before them, and that's the problem. Last two movies were devastating. Didn't bother and won't bother with the third. Yeah, like The Rise of Skywalker was the first Star Wars movie I didn't see in theaters. I didn't go to see it. It was that bad, right? They lost me so hard with the second movie that I never went to see the third movie in the sequel trilogy. As somebody that grew up eating, sleeping, and drinking Star Wars, that has just about every single Star Wars video game on this shelf right behind me, that had merchandise for Star Wars, lightsabers, action figures, read all of the expanded universe books up to a point. Like, I was a diehard mega fan, and I didn't watch the third sequel movie. That's how bad it was, right? Like, that's not a good thing. When you lose someone like that, that's really bad. And I'm going to be honest with you. The amount of money that I have spent on Star Wars since Disney took over is infinitesimally small compared to the amount that I spent before they did. Nice. Rise of Skywalker is the only of the sequel trilogy I haven't rewatched. So this is really funny. I have only ever watched Rise of Skywalker once. I have only ever watched The Last Jedi once. I have never wanted to rewatch either of them. And yet I still remember like every fucking part of those movies. It's like it's seared into my brain because I've had to discuss it so many times with people. I'm not permitted to forget the experience, unfortunately, as much as I would like to. As opposed to like, let's say like The Acolyte, episode 3, Prophet mentioned the power of one, the power of two, the power of many scene. And when he mentioned that earlier today, I was like, damn it, I had forgotten that. I was like, why did you say that? It was gone. It was out of my mind. I had managed to physically replace it until he drug it back in. I haven't watched Star Wars movie or an IP from Disney in a few years. Yeah, I mean, I would say at minimum, the original trilogy is still really good. I even like the prequel trilogy. I think you can watch those 6 movies and never watch the sequel trilogy, and you will just have a positive opinion of Star Wars. They'd be like, oh my god, that was really good. I see why people like this. If you watch the sequel trilogy, you will understand. You will understand all of the ire. I still hated Jar Jar though. I didn't hate Jar Jar. I definitely recognize how problematic Jar Jar is, but like for me he's an annoying character, but there's a reason he's annoying, right? Like he's purposely designed that way. They're getting beaten hard by Nezha too, which was inspired by DreamWorks. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one like Chinese movie that somehow I think what was it? What was the other movie that they had come out like last year that like it was the highest grossing animated film of all time ever, and it now already got beat by a Chinese movie. I can't talk about Star Wars with my family because they inevitably bring up the sequels, and I always argue why they are bad. But they do it for fun, so I can't be mad at them. So wait, like are they trolling you and trying to make it sound like they're good, or are they like do they like them and you argue with them because of that? Because like I've met people that think the Star Wars sequels are good. They're just very rare, and most people. It's kind of like Avowed, right? Like where even the people that have a positive opinion of it have bad things to say about it and recognize that there are issues. We're hitting our secret Sith Jar Jar, right? It's only been released in China and it's nearing 2 billion. Right, but given the subject matter, I'm going to say it logically will not make a lot of money outside of China. I like Jar Jar fine, but I never would have been able to take him seriously as a villain. Right. I won't touch sequels with a 10-foot pole. Look, watch the original trilogy. Here's the thing. I've seen people say the original trilogy is bad because it's old. They're completely wrong. However, if you're somebody that can't watch older stuff without thinking, man, this is old, I'm just going to go ahead and say, don't watch the original trilogy then. Because it just seems like that wouldn't be for you. But the original trilogy is really good. And it's really funny too, because I've seen people like, especially younger people that are like, hey, I watched the prequel trilogy, then watched the original trilogy, and they had a different take on Darth Vader, as opposed to people that watched the original trilogy and then watched the prequel trilogy because, you know, the original trilogy came out first. So this is like the standard for how people think about Darth Vader, but people that watched the series in this order have a different take, and it's interesting to see that. And I like, it's one of the things I really like about it. Whereas to people that watch the sequel trilogy, none of that changes. In fact, quite literally all it makes people do is go like, damn, the others were better. There's no like, man, this was artistic, this was a really cool thing. Like, oh, I wonder how this changes things for that. No, like nobody thinks about that anymore about the sequels. Everyone just looks at it and goes like, fuck, dude. Okay, chat. I definitely want to get to recording because it's already almost 10 o'clock here. I don't think this video is going to be too long, but let me double check some stuff here. I'm reading your other notes here, Evelyn, real fast. Yeah, Sherlock is fine. I agree with that take. And was that the only one from that group? General, thank you for the resub. Thank you for the 66. Check, we get some love for General's 5.5 years. Hot damn. And also, sorry, Cal, I didn't see your sub somehow. Thank you for the year as well. And I'm doing good. He was the only one? Okay, good. Did you Oh, okay, no, that's fine. Do they have it? Okay. Hi, chat. Thanks for all the fun streams. That's no problem. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Have what? Oh, that? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Where's my... my eyes. Thank God I'm no longer getting flashbanged. Okay, how do we want to talk about this? Hey guys, my name's Kadroth, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the upcoming Grand System. Now, this video won't deal specifically with this, but we kind of got to talk about it a little bit before we get to the main subject matter. You see, the Grand System is an upcoming announced system that will be happening basically post Ordeal Call 4. We know we're getting Ordeal Call 4 here this spring, upcoming on JP, which means that this system will be coming into the game relatively soon. So as a result, I wanted to make this video to kind of help prepare you guys and help you guys maybe make a little bit more informed choices on it, should it help you. Now, there's a lot of things we don't know about this system yet. For instance, we've been given a set of parameters here. As you guys can see, the unlock requirement will be to clear the Ordeal Call prologue. You can select 7 of your own servants to be grand servants, so basically a greater tier than they currently already are. The requirement for this is level 100 or higher, and having all the active skills, not including appends, at level 10. So basically a level 100 or more 10-10-10 servant. That's going to be what's going to be required for it to be one of the 7 units that you choose. We don't know if it'll be like a 1 per class type of deal, or if it's going to allow extra classes. All of this is still up in the air. I think it's reasonable to assume that because they didn't tell you about those restrictions, that they probably won't be restrictions. So maybe you can have multiple of a class. Maybe you can have the extra classes. But we don't know. So more info may come out that may change this. That being said, here's the benefits of what this is going to confer. The Grand Servants can perform as even more powerful forces in battles, with features such as the ability to equip both a normal craft essence as well as their max bond craft essence simultaneously. So this means that you might be able to use something like a K-Scope and a Servant's Bond C, or a Black Grail and a Servant's Bond C. The possibilities are limitless, and so it's something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Additionally, to prepare for the launch of the system, St. Court summons featuring all 5-star servants have been released up through 2024. That'll be rolling out sequentially. We've already been seeing these. They're going in class order, if you will. So, like, for instance, right now, I believe as of the recording of this video, we are currently sitting on the Lancers. So they're just kind of going through and they're actually giving a banner to literally every 5-star unit in the game right now. So this is to help you roll out any characters that you would want for this system upcoming. Now, the big thing I want this video to focus on is going to be this portion of it, the Max Bond Craft Essences. Long ago, I went through every single Bond Craft Essence and managed to kind of point out the ones that I thought were good and bad. You see, Bond CEs in this game kind of have some interesting issues. They basically, if you were to go look at, like, let's say one of them right here. So, as actually one of the more recent ones, this is Takanashi's Treasured Sword for Kurohime. And you guys can see, when equipped on Kurohime, it will increase the party's damage against serpent or dragon enemies by 10%, so it's got a power mod. And then it will increase the party's critical damage by 20% while she is on the field. So that sounds really nice. But then why don't people use these Bond Cs very often? Well, the reason is right here. They have a hard limit that they can't be leveled past, and the stats for them, the raw stats, are just actually really bad. As a result, usually just using a better craft essence that you already have in your account is usually better than using the Bond C. There are some examples of where, like, Bond Cs definitely can be taken, but it's usually going to be if the CE is incredibly unique, like in the case of someone like Herc that gives guts, or if a unit maybe has a more supportive capacity where they don't need to have a craft essence equipped for damage or charge. So that's where they can maybe get away with using one of these Bond Cs without taking too much of a hit. But there are, again, going to be some considerations. As we know, we're going to be able to take this in as part of the Grand System now, which means that this downside, this demerit of only having 100 attack and 100 HP is relatively moot. We don't really care how this is going to be because we'll be able to equip a normal CE alongside of it. So for the purposes of this, we went through and we cataloged pretty much all of the craft essences that you guys see. And again, this is a really important thing to understand. I struggled with how I wanted to kind of attack this and how I wanted to demonstrate all of this for you guys. I will put a link to the spreadsheet this tier list in the description of the video, but I wanted to break this down for you guys to let you guys see maybe this is what to think about when using the units. So we're going to go through each of these sections, and I'm going to talk to you about why I think certain sections could be good and maybe why others would not be. If your unit that you're looking at to Grand falls into one of these sections, it can help inform you in your choice for who to choose to be a Grand. It doesn't necessarily have to, though. You can always just pick your favorites. I assume the system will at least incentivize that. So right off the bat here, we have what we like to call the color buffs. That is to say, the card type ups. So Party Arts is our first one here, and this is going to be units that have, in their cases, a party-wide effect on their Bond CE that is going to grant them arts up to the rest of the party. This is really good if you want to think about it from these standpoints, that not only does this facilitate increased damage output, but also looping capacity. However, if you are just using a singular unit to loop through 3 waves, we maybe don't care about this party-wide effect too much unless we're having to somehow card with the other side units because maybe our unit doesn't have enough damage. But I do think for looking at this from a multiple damage dealer type of setup, or maybe some sort of challenge scenario where you know there's going to be a lot of carding involved, party-wide arts up can be really, really good. And the same thing, if you come down and look at the party-wide buster up, you'll also see a lot of similarities. Now, there are some units, though, where things don't necessarily align perfectly. And an example, as we can kind of see here in the buster category, is going to be a unit like Janu. Janu is normally going to be an arts unit. She's going to work with other arts units and probably be some sort of stall comp type situation. So I have a separate category for people that I feel like are misaligned, but I didn't put Janu into that category. And the reason why is because there is technically no restriction as to who you take with certain people, and John being a stalling type of supportive type of unit does mean that yes, you can pair her with some other better options. But there are some reasons for why I decided certain units were misaligned and didn't really have that good of a Bond CE, and I'm going to talk about each one of them with you. Whereas for the vast majority of, say, Buster Up units, I'm going to say that their Bond CE will be relatively nice for them. They are almost all to AT Buster units themselves, or somebody that already buffed a Buster unit, in the sense that you would probably logically be taking a Buster unit alongside of them that they could gain the benefit of. I do think there are some absolutely atrocious versions of this, but I can't expressly say that the craft essence is necessarily bad, because again, if we look at Jill DeRay here, for instance, he is somebody that just obviously wants to nail down Buster crits, and if he doesn't get them, it is what it is. He's definitely not the strongest unit, but it doesn't necessarily expressly make the craft essence bad. So in that regard, I do think Buster Up also could be really good. It's just going to enhance damage output, which is something that Buster units very strongly care about, and especially if you're using them alongside somebody else. So for instance, if you have, like, say, a Nightingale buffing someone else, her having a CE that provides party-wide Buster Up is really good. And considering the fact that you may be able to pair this up with other things like Ox Demon King, you may be able to get even more bang for your buck with how much firepower you're able to promote. Now, I'm going to say it depends on how the Grand System works. If the Grand System is going to incentivize way more damage for a character in some way by increasing their stats, then maybe granding a support wouldn't be the best of ideas. But if it doesn't, if it's just like this is the only benefit that it confers is the ability to combine Bond Cs with normal Cs, then there's really no problem with making a support unit one of your Grands. So it's definitely something to consider. It's food for thought. Just think about who you want to Grand. And again, if you want to go about it by way of just choosing your favorites or by trying to choose smart gameplay-esque units that you think will really benefit your account. So now, Party-wide Quick is an interesting one. We talked about Party-wide Buster and Party-wide Arts to an extent. Party-wide Quick, very similar to Party-wide Arts, but there are significantly less units that have this as a Bond CE in the game. And I find that really intriguing. But this is also the category that has by far the most misaligned craft essences. I'm not really sure why this is. I think this kind of just goes back to some of the original jank that Quick has always had. And one of the reasons that people have felt that Quick is somehow this lesser card type. I still think Quick is a really capable card type. It definitely has its issues with its options for support characters, but I do think that overall the Quick card type is not the doomed thing that a lot of the people in the community seem to think that it is. But when you see things like this, it's easy to see why the community thinks the way that it does. We're going to point it out later with the misaligned units, but just how many of them actually do come from this Quick category. So there is a reason that there are a lot less units here. Just in general, they do have less options off the rip, but also because a couple of the options have been removed and moved to a different category. Okay, so now we also have dual party color type of buffs. So these are units that have a max Bond C that buffs not just one card type up, but two. Thinking about this logically, it's probably better to have a single card type up as opposed to dual, because you're going to get higher modifiers in that sense. So if you had party-wide Buster Up of 20%, as opposed to party-wide Buster Up of 10% and Arts Up of 10%, I mean, that's not expressly bad, but it's not going to be as impactful as just having more of the main card type that you wanted to amplify your damage or your refund. So that is something to consider about these. To me, party-wide dual color, not as good as the kind of devoted ones are, but still a useful max Bond CE to have, and it does kind of open up a little bit of options for like, hey, maybe you're going to take Diarmid, his is Quick and Arts Up, so maybe you're going to use him for the Quick NP to help himself, but maybe somebody else in the party is an Arts-based NP, and so he also kind of helps them. There could be interesting ways to synergize these with other units, but I am going to say that to me they are a little bit lesser in terms of value compared to the others. If that logic works for party-wide dual color, then it's definitely going to work for party-wide triple color units. That is to say, these are people that have tricolor buffs. They have Buster, Arts, and Quick all in one. It's definitely interesting. And you can see when you have things like Hassan of 100 Faces, kind of makes sense. Or even Demia here, who also himself has a tricolor buff in his own kit. So that's kind of why they do. They were already units that were thematic to have it, including units like Space Ishtar. So this is definitely an interesting one for her, and I think it works very much to Space Ishtar's advantage, given the fact that she does change around her card type. Now, I do think there are better ways that they could have handled it. They maybe could have given her, say, NP damage up, and that would have applied to all 3 card types. But it seems like it was a thing that felt thematic for the unit and something that they did also maybe to keep them in line a little bit. So it's interesting to see how they did this. I think party-wide triple color is definitely good in the fact that it'll affect every single one of the cards that you use. It will affect every single person in the party. But it may not be to the same extent that, again, a single devoted, like, say, party-wide Buster Up would be for specifically Buster units. So, again, another good one, but maybe not as strong as some of the others. From here, we also have some variance in the sense of having a party-wide color buff for your cards, plus a crit damage buff, either for yourself or party-wide. This is an interesting one as well, because depending on the unit, you may find units have way more crit synergy than others. So again, say on a unit like Estrella, that can definitely be a good thing. Or hell, a unit like Merlin, where he's already a support unit, having this on him in addition to maybe something else, like I said, like an Ox Demon King or something, you're really going to help somebody else pop off at that point. So there is at least a little bit of synergy for something like this. I do find it interesting. There are some units that are very strong, say, for instance, in crit damage. So they get a little bit of a benefit of having both of these effects. They have a synergistic card type up with themselves, plus a party-wide crit buff. This can only really help them in that regard if they're already somebody that already depended on both of those two factors in their normal kit. Then you're also going to have party-wide color and NP damage. Now, obviously, there are certain units that are going to take a little bit more to this. So, for instance, if you're somebody like, I don't know, say, let's say Jarcher here, right? So Jarcher is somebody that having an arts up and NP damage up, it's just going to help her damage output. This is actually one of her biggest deficiencies, is her damage output. So having this on her, it's definitely going to help her and scale really nice. The added benefit of having an NP damage based one is that obviously that's going to scale with units like, say, Oberon. This is going to be really nice for units that are loopers, units that you're going to use with Oberon a ton, and units that you just feel like are going to be firing off a ton of NPs. If it's a unit, however, that's mostly primarily carding based, you might not gain as much benefit from that. So an example of this would be like, say, Mao Nobu before her buffs, where yes, she wasn't too much of a like 3-turn type of farming unit before them. Now she is. Now she's really good. But before that point, she was mostly relegated to being a carding gimmick unit in a lot of cases. So having an NP damage up on her Bonsi, I mean, I guess, yes, it did help the NP pop off a little bit harder, but it wasn't the primary reason for why you were using her. So in that regard, it would be an issue, maybe, but only if you're not using the unit primarily for their NP. So to me, I think most of these units, they're perfectly fine in this regard. You don't have to worry too much about that. Each one of them is going to be a unit that you're going to try to get to the NP and fire it off a lot. From here, we have party-wide attack up. Now, this is not going to necessarily be as strong as, say, a color buff, where it could also enhance the other aspects of the card type. But it is attack up, which is just basically everything that you're going to do. And you guys can see, ironically enough, there's a lot of saber faces in here. But the reality of this party-wide attack up, just always going to be a strong one, really, really a solid one to bring. It's just going to amplify everyone's damage output, not just on their NPs, but also all of the carding that they do, including things like the extra attack that maybe the party-wide color buffs would not have influenced. So this is definitely a really strong aspect to these, and I do really like party-wide attack ups. Now, there are at least 2 instances here of party-wide attack and NP damage. So this one is a relatively nice one, as you get kind of the best of both worlds there. You get that nice scaling with a unit like Oberon, and you're maybe helping out somebody else in the party for their NP damage so that they can pop off a little bit harder. Again, I think this is another really, really nice one to have, but only Gray and Lartoria have it, which is kind of funny because both of them are Rongominiad wielders. But I do find that to be pretty interesting. Ironically enough, the other variant that you guys will see here is party-wide attack and crits. And guess who has it? It's Lartoria in her summer form. So this is a really interesting one for her, as she's already a unit that is synergistic for crit. In fact, in a double Koyanskaya setup, you can double up that crit damage for her, getting up to 100% party-wide crit damage. So having even more crit damage is just to your benefit. It's going to absolutely help you pop off, and the party-wide attack up is going to help not only her NP damage, but also her carding power. So this is a really, really nice one to have on Lartoria, and frankly, I think at this point in time, it's a unit that definitely needs it. So it's good to see this for her, as again, it'd be another really, really nice beneficial max bond bonus effect. Now here we get to just the straight party-wide NP damage. Like I explained a little bit before, these are definitely good. The issue that you're going to have is, do you feel like you're going to be NPing with the unit a lot, or are you going to be putting them in a scenario where someone will? Because if we look at, say, someone like Mozart here, he definitely doesn't have an offensive NP. So this seemingly would be useless for him, right? Well, no, because he's actually a support buffer, and that's what he's used for all the time. So the issue here is going to be rather how you would use him in a system. His buff is certainly nice that it's party-wide NP damage that'll help other people pop off, but one of the ways in which a lot of people use Mozart is almost as like a turn 1 rotator. So they'll come in, they'll pop the arts up, they'll pop the star bomb that he has, and they'll kind of get him out of the party. In this regard, you may want to think about reversing that and instead bringing him in last so that he can amplify then, so that he's in the party to have this effect. Because the way most of these Bond Cs work is they only work while the unit is currently on the field. So in order to gain the benefit, the person has to be in the party, not the back line at that time. So that's going to be something that you guys need to kind of manage in terms of how you handle some of these units. Again, I'm not necessarily trying to rank each one of these and tell you guys this one's really good, this one's bad. I'm trying to look at a little bit some of the outliers to help you guys think about this and kind of understand a little bit some of the mentality you should be going for when looking for how to apply both your grand system choices, but also how you can utilize the Bond Cs on those units effectively. So party-wide MP damage, definitely really good, especially if you're going to put them into a sort of system where multiple people are going to be dealing damage. That's going to allow multiple people to handle more waves by hitting harder. So in that regard, I like party-wide MP damage. Again, scales with Oberon, definitely really, really nice for a lot of farmers. If we get to party-wide MP gain, I'm a little bit less optimistic about party-wide MP gain. In premise, it sounds really good. Sounds like it would facilitate looping. In reality, though, you can actually see you have a couple of units here like Sumanai, like Shakespeare, like Walter, like Kidgill, Mabe, and yeah, pretty much those right there, that are Buster units with a party-wide NP gain. Usually people like to use, units in a system that is synergistic to themselves, or again, maybe at least of a matching card type. So using Buster units with other Buster units, for instance. So in that regard, party-wide NP gain on an all-Buster team, not going to do too much in the current meta where charging is just kind of really, really dominant. Party-wide NP gain could be really good on, say, a more supportive unit that's going to help you facilitate a little bit more damage. In that regard, Shakespeare seems like he'd be good, but Shakespeare himself is a Buster buffer, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for him. So again, it really just kind of depends. To me, party-wide MP gain, honestly, I feel like the way in which this one would matter is if it somehow makes the unit that you're using alongside or the unit that has it able to reach a new echelon of sort of charge tier that they couldn't reach before. So that is to say, instead of refunding 45% of NP, now maybe they refund 50%. So it's a nice even number. That's a new breakpoint that allows them to maybe utilize different things. So in that regard, I don't really feel like this is going to be the case for most of these units. I feel like party-wide NP gain, probably one of the worst ones you can objectively have on your Bond Craft Essence. It's not the end-all, be-all terrible thing, but it is going to be something that you'll really have to try if you want to actually use it effectively. Again, if you're in a knockdown, drag-out fight where there's going to be a lot of carding, definitely going to help out a lot more, as opposed to maybe just looping through and firing off an NP or two where you kind of have to have enough refund and enough charge already anyways to make it work. So maybe you can get away with a little bit more with one of these units by having it on it, but I don't really think it's going to be that big or impactful of a thing. And then we get to the party-wide power mods. Now, this is interesting because a couple of these, and actually a couple of them throughout the rest of the list, are conditional. And what I mean by that is you may see certain units on here, like, say, Charlotte Corday, that has a party-wide power mod to units, or enemies rather, I should say, that have a skill seal on them. Now, if you know about this, obviously Charlotte Corday has things in her kit that can grant skill seal. This basically means it's going to be a 1 or 2 turns out of every, like, say, 6 turns that this would actually be in play. So this would not be as impactful as, say, somebody like MHXA that just has party-wide power mod against sabers. Which means that if you're in a node that has sabers, every single turn, everyone will be dealing more damage. So that's a really good one, as opposed to one that's maybe a little bit more conditional, where it's still strong, but only on the, like, set of circumstances that it applies to. And so at that point, you have to be a little bit careful with some of these. They're definitely not created equal. Some of them are definitely worse than others. But I didn't really want to say, hey, any of these are necessarily expressly bad. I went into this with the mentality thinking that some of these would be expressly bad. But I came out of it by just saying, you know what? I think there are ways that you can use all of these Bond Cs effectively, and some of them are just instead misaligned. We're going to get to that here in a second, but basically party-wide power mod can be a very, very good one or a not so good one, depending on the circumstances. So it really just depends on each individual unit and their craft essence as to what is going to actually be good and strong here. To me, I think party-wide power mod still a kind of mixed bag, but again, it does have really, really good potential. Can absolutely be a good one to have on some of your units and could potentially be some of the strongest in terms of double stacking of some of the effects that some of these have. So I do think that this is a really, really strong category potentially, but not necessarily the best all the time. And now we get down here to the misaligned category, and you're going to see a couple of people in here that just frankly, each one of them has their own unique issues. So like in the case of Satheno, Satheno has a party-wide quick boosting CE. If you know anything about Satheno, you know that she deals primarily with death proc and has a buster-based NP that does not deal damage. So her having a party-wide quick up's a little bit of a weird one. I'm not going to say that most people are going to use someone like Satheno in a quick composition anyways, though she does, as an assassin, have 3 quick cards in her deck. So I can maybe see why they made the choice, but it's not necessarily the best one. Same thing here for Phantom. He also has party-wide quick. I'm not really sure why. He also is an assassin. He does have 2 quick cards in his deck, but he's an arts-based assassin with an offensive NP that is arts. So you're going to want to use him in an arts team if possible. And so at that point, I don't really feel like this one's really that good of one, unfortunately. Unless you're just, you know, trying to like card through or something with Phantom because you're trying to do a challenge run or something. Asterios is going to be another one here. And this one to me makes the least sense by far. His is also party-wide quick. He is not an assassin. He only has a single quick card in his entire deck. I'm just really not sure what they were going for with this one. He doesn't have a quick-based NP. It's not even necessarily an offensive NP anyways. It's a supportive NP. And I don't really feel like you're going to use him in too many quick compositions with other quick units. But maybe you can find some sort of use for that. But for this one, this is why I threw him in the misaligned category. Units that are down here, their Bond C, it's not expressly bad, it just doesn't match up well with the actual character. So in that regard, I could have maybe thrown some of those Buster units within P-Gain in here. But there's nothing stopping you from using maybe, say, one of them alongside a more like arts refundy unit or something like that. So I didn't expressly feel like they were necessarily misaligned, and they may also have the benefit of themselves getting better refund with their own cards, even though they are a Buster unit. So they had still some real way of tangibly getting benefit out of it, as opposed to some of these, I just really don't feel like there is very much benefit at all. Serenity's another one. She's another assassin. She's got double quick cards here, and she's arts based. So yeah, again, I'm not really sure what they were trying to do here. It's just a weird misalignment. Sherlock, also kind of weird. He is a kind of challenge support. He's an offensive support unit. So this one is probably the weakest case to put down here, but he is also party-wide quick. And it's just kind of weird because he's an arts unit, and he also does arts down to targets. So he really wants to use his arts cards. But his quick card performance is not bad, and sometimes you may find that you really want to use it. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have for him, but especially you could use him alongside another set of like quick units to try to give them invuln pierce or defense pierce or something like that. But to me, this one's still a kind of fundamentally misaligned one. It's just not the worst thing in the world. I think he is the best of these misaligned units in that regard, but it is what it is. And Nezhaz is also quick at NP damage up for a unit that, while she does have quick cards, and her buff in her own kit is Buster and quick, she is still a Buster unit. So this one also having quick just felt really misaligned to that degree. This is to say, if the benefit that it conferred only really translated to their cards and they weren't dominant in that card type, they really did feel like a misaligned sort of thing. In other words, they could have given them a different card type, or they could have given them a different effect overall, and it would have just been better outright for them. So in that regard, I think some of these are misaligned. I think you could maybe make an argument for some of the party-wide NP gain for like some of the Buster ups, like say, for instance, Lulter here having NP gain. Definitely a little bit on the weirder side, but let me know what you guys think about that. I'll be curious to hear you guys' thoughts. But again, these are the way that a lot of these work. We do have some other unique ones that we didn't include on the list, units like, say, like Herc and stuff like that. But this is the way I kind of wanted to approach this, and kind of wanted to say, like, yes, I think if you're a truly unique Bond CE, then you don't really have a quantifiable or like rankable type of way of handling this. So in that regard, you're going to have to take each one of those on their own, in their own like perspective, to determine whether or not that's a good choice for you. And that's still going to come down to you. But some of these have really good potential, some of them a little bit less. It really just depends. What do you guys think is the strongest effect on this list? Which one will you be picking for your Grand Servant? And I'll be curious to hear you guys' thoughts. I will see you guys for the next video. Good luck with Ordeal Call 4 and all of the future content to come. Later. Okay. Six out of 6 quick. That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy that like all of the things that could have gone down here were the quick units, and maybe some of the party-wide MP gain. None of the units from Buster or Arts are misaligned. It's wild. I don't know why they did this. Like the closest thing I can say to a misalignment would be like right here for Buster, where it's like he technically has an Arts NP. I think Jekyll and Hyde's also in here somewhere. Yeah, here he is. So like you could also say he's like potentially a misalignment, but this is more just these two units are not very good units. It's not that their CE is necessarily bad. It's these two people just feel like they're already jank to begin with. Saint War Order is never misaligned, yeah. With the DPS, a self-buff Bond C is good. Party buff is not as good, but it's acceptable. And then there's comma. Yeah, I think like I think there's definitely some issues with how they design these. Cause like chat, like obviously you get like newer units, right? Like Bunny, for instance, where it's like, okay, it's a really nice synergistic combo for her. But some of them, like all the misaligned ones for the most part, are older units. Like all of these are within like the first 2 years of the game. And most of them are within the first year of the game. So you can see like they just kind of fucked up and they made some mistakes. In a weird way, I also wouldn't have been surprised to have seen like, say, Emiya himself be misaligned. Because then it could have been like, oh, well, maybe Emiya had a party-wide arts, right? Like he doesn't. But like think about it from that perspective. Maybe he had a party-wide arts. Well, then that could be a thing. That would be something that you could do. Because, hey, we already heard rumors of Emiya being an arts unit all the way back in the original design phases of the game. And so if that were the case, then you could look at this and you could say, oh, maybe that's what happened here. Like maybe these units were originally quick units. But that isn't the case. It's only quick units that this happened to. So it's really odd. It's one of the cool kits with the unique C. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to record this one. I wanted to go over it with you guys so that we could talk Mon Cs. But it really is an interesting one in that regard. I felt like they underdesigned quick, and they did it in the hopes of fixing it at the time. I think what happened in FGO's case is not that like quick was bad. I think originally they probably thought the ability to generate crit stars was extremely strong. And so as a result, they thought that like by giving units quick effects and quick things, that they were actually like making them stronger. They were actually giving them a buff by allowing them to generate more crit stars. And then I think somewhere along the line, they kind of twisted that a little bit and they started giving away stars to like everything else. And that fucked the balance. That literally, like, I'm trying to think about this in a more like easy to understand way. But I guess it would be the equivalent of like suddenly making like NP gain a really like easy to get stat. And then this would exactly like when your game is flooded with NP gain, then arts having the most NP gain in the game for cards doesn't matter as much. Because it's like, well, yeah, but we can like imagine if you could generate to 100% with quick. Well, then arts being able to go even higher than that's not a big deal, right? Or what if we can make every card type deal a shit ton of damage? Then Buster kind of loses its luster a little bit. The only issue with this is damage has been like the infinitely scaled thing in the game. And while, yes, we can make every card type deal good damage, Buster still does objectively the most, and this game is a damage meta. So out of all of them, in a weird way, Buster could be argued to be both the weakest and the strongest. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody can do good damage, but also damage is the meta, so Buster does the most, therefore it's really strong and everyone wants to use it. That's where the see red, press red comes from. So like, it's really an interesting way that they designed it, and I would love to like see an interview from the original dude that designed FGO's like carding based system and hear what his thoughts were of like why he designed it the way that he did. I would love to read that, because I feel like a lot of our assertions would be verified, and I feel like at the same time too we would maybe get some perspective as to like why certain decisions were made. 30% NP damage and 30% crit against servant. Yep. So I'm asking Avalon something here real fast. Okay. I think the Buster system was years in the making. I almost think it had to be, because like I've looked at that, and that's like, again, like everyone wants to say like, oh, the Buster system is like something they just kind of pulled out of their ass, and I'm like, no, there's just no way. Right? So like let's see. Let's just pick a random one here, right? Okay, Lancer's not a good class for that. Hold on, let's go back. All right. So if we go back and we look at, God, see, like a lot of these units had the charge added. Let's go look at Mordred. Okay. Mordred didn't have charge added. She always had it. So this was just like kind of the way things were, right? And you can look and you can see and you can go like, oh, okay, well, they made this charge skill 30% on a 6-turn cooldown. Why? Units with guts back in the day, usually the gut skill was a 7-turn cooldown. Units with evasion, usually evasion made the skill cooldowns higher. Units with charge, they seemingly kept always at like similar increments. And I find that really intriguing because it's really smart. But charge is and always has been in this game the most meta thing besides damage. What do I mean by that? I mean that charge facilitates you getting to your NP, and your NP is equal to damage. So while yes, increasing your own damage is a thing, like for instance from like the attack up or the mana burst here, right? Like, yeah, that's a thing. But this also equals damage. So I find it really intriguing that they set in stone kind of the turn cooldowns for what certain skills would be, and it always had been that way. And it always worked out perfectly. Like every single unit in the game, their charge skill basically on a 7-turn cooldown or less. And it's wild that worked that way. So I'm surprised by that. We can probably discuss that later, Evelyn. But yeah, like I'm really surprised that they did stuff like this. And like even the 7 turns, those are rare. That's like Arcuid and other ones. So it's like the 5th Append helped bring them back in line. So it's like I'm really surprised. It's like they kind of addressed almost every single issue that Buster had with the Koyan Skya system, and it's so genius in how they made it that I'm still impressed from a game design standpoint. And even then, the 5th Append kind of addressed most of the remaining concerns. Didn't address all of it because there's still the issue of Block 50. Block 50 is a design flaw of this system, but it may be a purposeful flaw. They may have done it on purpose to stop certain units from being able to take advantage of this more. So it's like, yeah, the system does have an issue, but it's not a like major issue, I'd say. Like it's an issue that impacts certain characters, but it doesn't impact the vast majority of Buster units. So in that regard, like I look at this and I just go like, God, yeah, I'm impressed that they managed to do this stuff. They just make dumb decisions, or the higher ups force the decisions. I want to say as somebody that knows developers and sometimes talks to developers, not FGO chat, just other people that I've known and met over the years, I think that there are tiers to this. There are the devs. There are the leads. And there are the board, right? It's easy to point to this and blame this for all of the issues. But this is kind of a scapegoat. I do agree that a lot of the problems in the video gaming industry as a whole start here. Because the board is answering to shareholders, right? So a lot of it starts here as they're just pursuing more wealth, more return on investment, and they kind of make dumb decisions that are like ill-informed. I think the issue can be here where like individual devs maybe didn't do their job to like how it should have been. So this would be an idea of like maybe like an essence of like the game's GUI, so its graphical user interface maybe not being as ergonomic or as like easy to understand as it should be. That could be a dev fault, right? But I think major macro level decisions on the game, I think when it comes to monetization, that is the board's fault. But I think when it's a major macro level game design decision, that's these people's fault. And so a lot of people want to say that the leads and the devs are one unit and that it's not their fault and it's the board's fault. But the reality is, I do think a lot of decisions that are bad for a game fall right here. The lead has a tough choice to make. I understand how it can happen because maybe the devs are slacking, maybe the project is behind and there's pressure from the board to get it done. And so they're what gets squished in between the people doing the work and the people demanding the work. They're the squish in between, right? So I see how this is a pressure cooker environment and a lot of bad shit happens. And they have to make tough choices all the time. But this is where some of the bad decisions get made. I'll give you guys an example of this. Chat. Who do you think is responsible for Concord and its failure? Do you think that was the board? Maybe we could say that the board was the one that decided that the game shouldn't be free to play. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe we can say that the board was the one that demanded that they go through with this concept and try to milk it as a live service game. Maybe that's a problem. But you see, the game not being free to play could have worked. The game being a live service model could have worked. Where's the problem with Concord? Right here. It's whoever the fuck chose the art direction for the game. Whoever the fuck was in charge of the character design for the game. That's where the issue was. That's what made nobody want to play this game. It looked bad. It didn't look fun. Nobody wanted to play this. It may not be the devs. Now, maybe the devs did the character designs. But who let the dev make that character design? The lead did. The lead's the one that approved it. The lead's the one that shaped the overall tone and direction of the game. Not the board. The board just wants a game that makes them money. The lead's the one that decides what that looks like, what that plays like. That's why I think, to a degree, yeah, I think these guys, they're on your side, chat. They are gamers like you. They just want to make a great game. It doesn't mean that like you see eye to eye with every dev. Like some of them may have completely different ideas for what a good game is compared to you or I. But they are gamers too. And I think at their heart of hearts, they really just want to make a good game. Doesn't mean that the leads don't either, because the leads are usually former devs. Okay? They're devs that got promoted. But sometimes you get certain things where maybe the board put a lead in charge that never should have been. Maybe the lead finally got an ounce of power and decided to wield it like some sort of tyrant. Maybe the lead decided that they wanted to impress their ideal and vision on the rest of the world that probably had no place in the game, and making it a, good and fun game to play. I think a lot of this does come back to the leads. These are the studio heads, the heads of the freaking individual departments, and basically the people that are making all the decisions on the game, all the macro level decisions. So it's like, for better or worse, yes, I do think there's a lot of problems in game design that are there at that level. There are people that maybe stayed with the studio for longer and didn't go off to some other studio that had better, employee practices, or didn't go off on their own and start their own IP in their own studio. And so they may be what's left, and they may not be that good. They may not be that worthy of that decision. I'm not going to say every lead is that way. I think a lot of leads are super talented devs, but I do think there are some that make bad decisions and tank a fucking game. And it is what it is. With the belief that Concord would be the next big thing. So here's the thing, right? Chat. Where do you think on that tier of board, lead, and dev, at which part of this system does the person stop being a gamer? So, while I understand the board is saying, yeah, this is going to be the next big thing, it's one, because they want it to be, and two, because they're being told that by the leads. The leads are puffing smoke up their ass. The leads are the one that are sitting there and like, oh yeah, it's so good. You guys should see the product right now. Oh my God, it's the most amazing thing I've ever created. I can't wait till it makes you millions of dollars. You won't be able to stop thanking me. In fact, you're going to pay for my all expenses paid trip, and I'm going to get a Ferrari, and I'm going to be Mr. Big Shot now, and we can hang out some, because this is going to be such a good product. It's going to make you guys absolute just dollar bills, fat stacks everywhere, and all of your requirements that you need to hit in order to achieve those salary bonuses, you're gonna hit them now thanks to us. But yeah, trust me, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then they walk out that boardroom door and they go fuck, dude, we are 6 months behind on this. What the shit do I do? I'm gonna get fired. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I can't get the leads to fucking get those people to work. What is going on with this game? Why is everything falling apart? So I think it's they're in the boardroom. They are Mr. Oh my God, Mr. Glaze, right? My product is so good. Second they step foot outside, they're freaking the fuck out, and they know that everything is falling apart right right under their nose. This is just the way this shit works. Kat, did you commission the art there on the right? This one, no, this is an artist's. But yeah, it's just type in !art if you want the link. But yeah, I think a lot of people they want to assume that the board's the problem. And don't get me wrong, the board's the one applying the pressure, being you told us it was going to be done on this date. Why is it not done? We told all of our shareholders it's going to be done at this time, and they want blood. So it's like, yeah, the board's the one applying all the pressure. They're the one that's funding all the money and like making sure that the project gets made. But the leads are the one in charge of the decision making. The leads are the one that decide whether or not you have to crunch or not to get the project out. The leads are the ones that are trying to make sure that everything gets done on time and on budget and literally is like to whatever the design is of the game, like whatever specifications they need. So at the end of the day, they're the ones kind of responsible. They are the goat herders that have to sit there and go like, all right, devs, come on, get your job done. I told you to create this, create it. Legendary programmer. A family friend had stories of how the dude was a prodigy, but as a CEO, the Wii U was a dumb decision and it was not the most amazing CEO. Yeah, certain people are good at certain things. It's like I was talking about with Kathleen Kennedy there. I think she's a fucking terrible president, but she's probably a pretty good producer, right? Like, so it's like she needs to stick to that, and who's actually got creative control of the IP needs to change hands. So at the end of the day, I think that's kind of what's going on. And when you look at some of these games, the reason some of them succeed is because, one, they probably take a lot of pressure off their leads and say like, hey, you know, if you need more time, we can give it to you. It's fine. We're confident in our performance and yada yada yada. And then it's also going to be that they've promoted the right people to be the leads, people that they can trust, people that actually are knowledgeable and aren't going to necessarily like try to subvert the project by injecting their worldview into it, right? They're just going to try to make the best damn game that they can. So it's like, that's how you end up with a Concord on one end and like, I don't know, like Resident Evil Village on the other end, right? Like to use the Capcom example from the other night. It's like when you're just trying to make the best damn game you possibly can, you make a damn good game. When you're trying to make a game to appease the board and the stockholders, and you're also not liking the status quo of video gaming, that's when you make a shit tier game. Because it's not a game. You're trying to send a message. How do you work in software? No, I'm somebody that's grown up around video games, and for a while I wanted to go into video game design. So it's something I'm just really passionate about. But no, I do not work in the industry at all. But yeah, I think that's something that probably a lot of people, like I said, they just want to blame the board, but I don't think the board is necessarily the root of all evil. Like, well, maybe it's the root, but it's not the why evil happens every time, right? So it's like I think a little bit we got to get back to making games more as an art form and less as a corporate growth metric for infinite growth. But I do think at the end of the day that's what's really important is like trying to make the best game, trying to make it fun, trying to make it a good experience. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here for tonight. I was maybe going to do something after that, but because we got sidetracked on all the news and stuff that y'all kept getting me to talk about, and then we did the recording, everything kind of ran late. So I'm going to go ahead, wrap it up here a couple minutes early. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing Monster Hunter Wild tomorrow. In fact, it's actually going to be releasing in like an hour. So good luck to everybody on that. For those of you guys that wish to play with me, I did tell VIP this, but I have a rule about like this time around because I'm going to be actually playing from launch. I want to experience it the way it's supposed to be experienced. So I am not going to like want people that are like vastly outgearing me or something. But yeah, we may open it up if I have slots at times for people to come in, and we'll just have to see. But again, hope you guys enjoyed tonight's stream. Let me see who is on and who we can give some love to. I see. I see no one. All right, chat. I'm just going to go ahead and end stream for the night. Again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. We did get the Ort video out, at least for the first part, today on YouTube, so go check that out. If you guys haven't already, come follow me on Twitch. Follows are free, so always love you guys for that. And join the Discord. We're always happy to have you guys. That way you guys know whenever I go live, whenever the next video goes live. And again, you can always come and, hang out in the community and chat. So I'll see you guys for the next one. Have a good evening, and good luck if you guys are booting up Monster Hunter here in an hour. Later.